hello, everyone, hello. Don't know what that is.
No, nor do I. I think you're flipping for fish, aren't you?
Yeah, but I shoot with that hand. Hey everyone, it's very, very warm, so if I go a bit delirious, just send the ambulance.
What do you mean, if you go a bit delirious? Yeah, so we're off already. So
yeah, see it? Yes, welcome everyone to Warhammer Sunday, that time of the week when Colin and I crack on with some Warhammer goodness. You know, unlike the other times of the week when Colin and I crack on with some Warhammer goodness.
Yeah.
We kind of lost that edge now, haven't we, with the Friday and everything else?
We have, but this is a show with a twist. This one is. I'll let you fill the audience.
This is extra special Warhammer Sunday.
Yeah.
Extra special. Yes, I shall explain that in a moment. First, I may have to take my t-shirt off in a bit because it's very warm. Although I've got my curtains open, that might be a bad idea. Welcome everyone to Warhammer Sunday. Before we get going, as always, please let me do. Hang on a sec. Why is my fan kicking off when I've just put the streaming software into performance mode? What's going on here?
Why?
No, it's performance mode, which means it shuts most stuff down, so it's not doing anything.
Oh. Yeah, but don't forget, if it's very warm in your room, then the computer might be getting a bit hot and bothered, mate.
Yeah, that's true. Let me take performance mode off. CPU usage goes up. Yes, that's good. That's fine. It just warms.
It's just a bit... The environment's a bit warm, mate.
Yes, hopefully everyone can see and hear us okay. Nobody's saying anything in chat. So please just... Because I've got my streaming software in performance mode, it means I can't see anything. It's to reduce... So I actually discovered this the other day. I can put it in, so it doesn't. There's no animations or anything. It doesn't show me the preview, so it saves a lot of CPU power. But
are our video and audio correct? Because we have been victim of Microsoft's latest updates.
Yeah, so do let us know. But anyway, while we're waiting for you to reply, before then, please let me thank all the people that make this content possible. My corporate supporters and patrons and channel members, my corporate supporters, emodels.co.uk and goblingaming.co.uk, your one-stop shops for all your gaming and tabletop needs and model making needs. Links in the description below the video. Go and check them out. I'll make some scratch off those, so buy lots of things. Also,
Absolutely.
Of course, to my patrons and channel members, who literally pay my wages and keep this channel alive, because I do this as my job, this is my living. So a big thank you to them. You can become a patron at patreon.com/modelmakingguru, or you can press the join button under any of my content, and that'll make you a channel member. Either way, you're supporting the channel, you're keeping it alive, and you're literally putting food on my table. So big thank you to them. And don't forget, of course, with me, as always, is my friend Colin from Festa 67's Workshop. You can support him on Patreon at patreon.com/Festa67's Workshop. Or press join underneath any of his videos. Welcome, my dear friend Colin. How are you today?
Fine and dandy, mate. It's a bit hot and it's a bit sticky and all of that.
Yeah,
we'll leave that to your imagination.
It is a bit moistening today, isn't it? It's a bit...
Absolutely, mate. But
bit clingy.
I'm fine, mate. Absolutely fine, mate.
Now, very importantly, Mama Foxx, you get twice a lot of hugs from Mama Foxx today.
Oh, do I?
Because before I came up, I said to Mama Foxx, any message for the girls, as in you and Sia, and she went, yeah, big hugs for both of them, but he's not here. So you get all the hugs today.
Oh, dear. He is biblical bad, isn't he?
He is. Although he's just moving house, so maybe I'll give him a bit of leeway. Maybe. I don't know.
Unless he's still shopping in IKEA.
Oh, he could have had a meatball and then just got into shop because they're so cool.
He's not going to have the meatballs, is he? Because this is
that's beneath him.
It's commoners' food, isn't it?
Yeah, meatballs. IKEA meatballs are just heathen nonsense to him. Yes. So we'll be cracking on today. Now, it will be a rather special show today. Excuse me. But I'll quickly say hello to everyone in chat. First of all, first person in was Panzer Cat, who said, afternoon all, like hours ago. Welcome to you. Retro Rabbit Studios is in.
James?
He says, I found what was thought to be lost forever yesterday, a Viennetta ice cream cake. First one I've seen in 30 years. It's a Japanese import, found at the Asian grocery store. Yes, I bought it.
Oh, wow. Get in.
Cool. Viennetta ice cream cake. Oh, wait, do you mean like the ones that were like a block like that, and they had the... It was like a squiggly shape, and it was like a block that long.
Yeah.
I've not had one of them since I was a kid. Oh.
Yeah. Because he's stateside as well, isn't he? So, getting that sort of thing. Yeah,
God,
I've not had one of them in donkey's years.
Oh, man.
I want one now.
I really want one now. Dorkosaurus is in. Hi, Fox. Fox does Colin hugs and everyone in Chatland. He doesn't say hi to Si because he just assumes Si's not going to be here, you see.
Absolutely.
It's
dorks.
It's so bad when you're a host on a show and you turn up so fewly that... So fewly? Is that a real word? People know you're so bad at turning up that they just don't bother
Yeah,
including
so infrequently.
I said fewly. That's not even... I just...
No, that's a word from Festa's dictionary.
I'm 75, hey. Little bit of politics there. Zadorkosaurus is in. Welcome to you. Sarah Jane is in, just sleeping already.
Hello, Sarah Jane. All right, my darling.
Clearly I was talking. And that's us up to date with the chat. Not a lot in chat. Don't forget, of course, if you're watching this and you're not in the chat, come and join the live chat. If you're embedded somewhere, you can... My voice is... Hang on a second. That's better. If you're embedded watching it somewhere, you can click on the YouTube icon in the bottom right, and that will take you to YouTube where you can carry on watching and join the live chat. And you should join the live chat, because we'll ignore it throughout the whole show, because we've not got a sign here.
That's where all the groovy people live in
Yeah,
chat.
all the cool kids. So, yeah.
All the groovy gang.
But if you are in chat, do join in and give us stuff to talk about. Don't forget, if you want to catch our attention, you can do @ModelMakingGuru or @Festa67's Workshop in the chat to put our names in a coloured box. Or you can do a super chat with the little super chat dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window.
Absolutely.
Also helps the channel out. Now, first of all, how are you today, my friend? How are you diddling?
Fine and dandy, mate. I take it everyone's happy with our audio and video, by the way.
Yeah, nobody's actually answered that yet.
If you can just let us know, because we both had a Windows update and it's shonking our slobs at the moment. So
It's shonking our slobs. I don't even know how to begin to explain that phrase, but it sounds brilliant.
Sounds good to me, mate. But no, I'm fine and dandy, mate. Looking forward to the next chapter in my Warhammer adventure, mate.
Yeah. Now,
Sarah Jane says, hi, Secretary Festa hugs. Bob's in, Island Boy says, afternoon all, be lurking in the background.
Hello, my friend.
Bob.
And of course, joining us ever is our good friend Si Reynolds. How are you doing, Si?
Hello, Foxx.
That was quite good, actually. Oh, look. No response.
Yeah.
Let's just point at the
silence. Let's just across the screen.
An awkward silence. You see what I did there?
Panzer says, I did answer that. Foxx just ignored it.
Oh,
did he, mate? Yeah. He says, yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, no worries, mate.
Oh, lovely. Did he? Oh, I didn't see that. Wait, hang on live chat. Hang on.
I scrolled up. Dorkosaurus confirms.
yes, we
sound
hear you
and
there.
Video are fine. Thank you very much, folks.
I did see that. My apologies.
So, yeah, I am looking forward to the next chapter in my Warhammer adventure.
Yes. Now, if you remember, on previously on Stargate SG-1, I was building my Orc Waka jet, and Colin was fettling with his Orc truck and his big giant squig and things like that. We've put them to one side. I've actually finished building the Dakka jet. I finished it yesterday. I did some texture on the base. I'll show you. Let me show you.
Yeah. Show the folks what you've been up to.
Well, I can't really get it on camera because it's too big. I finished building it.
Look at that.
But last night I textured the base really quickly. Just put some debris and gravel and some bits of old tank parts on there. They'll be all rusted up, so that needs painting and stuff. So that's been done. I can put that in the cabinet and forget about it for about a year and a half till it comes to painting, because we have a special thing happening now. A long time ago, you and I had a discussion, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Do you want to explain what we're doing, or?
Yeah, can do, mate. It was a throwaway comment, wasn't it, that was made one night on the Frolic, and then we continued the conversation on the Sunday show.
Yeah, most of my comments are throwaway.
It was one of those. Foxx had basically inquired, in a nice way, I hasten to add, as to why I had progressed so far with my Warhammer builds and then moved on to the next one. And I light-heartedly said, well, I'm just learning brush painting, and this is as far as my techniques go at the moment, so I'm parking them all until I learn new tricks.
Park your techniques.
Very kindly offered to start sort of showing us chipping and things like that, doing it by brush and that, and it's kind of grown into a why not do an Educating Festa series where you show me how to paint the Foxx way then, and we can then take bits of that and apply it to my techniques and vice versa. And so it's grown into this. So it's not Foxx beating me with a wet kipper saying I'm doing it wrong. It's
well, I will do it anyway, but I won't really.
Very graciously offering to impart some of his wealth of painting expertise. So that's what it's all about.
Right now, Si Reynolds is sitting there going, what knowledge? What?
No, but it's like anything.
Yeah.
I've sat there before and said to him, "How did you do that?" And I've watched a lot of his painting videos, and obviously I have one eye on the screen when he's doing it. And I'm like, "Oh, how did you do that again?" And we just hit on this idea that it would be good for the audience because, again, some of you out there might be similar to me. You're just beginning this journey, and you could end up picking up some handy tips by seeing someone that doesn't know the skill learn the skill.
Yeah. So basically, we're gonna build and paint a model, and we're gonna do it together. And I'm going to basically just paint the model how I would normally paint it, and Colin's going to try and copy that, because I've always said, one of the best ways to learn new techniques is to copy somebody else's stuff and then adapt it for your own needs. So
Absolutely.
What's better than actually doing that while the other person's doing it at the same time? So I'll be painting this model, and Colin will be copying me, and we'll be going along and doing that. Now it's important to point out here, and I have to point this out because, I'm not saying that I'm a good painter-er, and I'm not saying that the way I do things is the right way of doing it. It's important to make this point. I'm not teaching Colin how to paint like me because I'm brilliant. I'm teaching Colin how I paint. That's a big distinction. If I was teaching him to paint like me, I'd be saying, I want you to paint all your things the same way. No, that's just nonsense. I want him to know how I do it so that he can then take all those techniques, put them into his little box of techniques that have got his own techniques. He'll have things he's learned from Duncan, things he's learned from Night Shift, and things he's learned from all other people, and Cy Reynolds, and he can take them all and have a box of techniques, and then he can use those techniques as he might take one of my techniques and adapt it a bit for his own needs, and it's just adding new ways of doing things. So this is what we're going to do.
It's a bit like the scratch buildery thing, isn't it? Where you say, "Oh, I wouldn't have the thing to do that." Well, I'll say, "Well, look, I'll show you how." So we're flipping the coin, but it's like a tennis match where we're throwing little things at each other.
I'm not wearing a short skirt.
It's not what you did on Friday. Oh, sorry, I blurted that out loud.
Hey, you can't talk about showing things on Friday.
Yeah. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm not showing him how to paint correctly. I'm showing him how I paint things. It's an important distinction to make. I see myself as a mediocre at best painter, but at least if I show him how to do it, he's got more techniques. And then if someone else comes along and shows them how they do things, he'll have more techniques. So there you go.
Absolutely.
So, and the other thing is courses, because we're going to be doing this every Sunday. We're going to start with the building for today and probably the next couple of weeks, but because we'll be doing it live and not doing anything off camera, if you want to get one of these kits, because we went for a cheap, simple kit, if you want to follow along, you've got plenty of time to snag one of these kits and then follow along. And if you want to copy as well, and then you learn some new techniques. Now I'm going to be showing real basic techniques, just real simple stuff. It's not anything complicated, but the one caveat we're going to have is no airbrush. The only spraying will be a primer, rattle cans primer. Once it's finished, if Colin wants to go off and matte varnish it with an airbrush, we won't show that because he knows what he's doing with that. But it'll be a no airbrush paint job, so it's really accessible to beginners and to people who haven't got airbrushes. So, without further ado, what are we going to be building?
Exactly.
We are going to buildage a Leman Russ Demolisher, except we're not going to build the Demolisher, we're going to build the Punisher.
Absolutely.
Because it's got the cool Gatling gun. Yeah. Now, the reason we went for this was we wanted... I thought the best thing to do was to go for something simple. If I'm showing techniques, I don't want to be working on some really complicated model with a million different surfaces, and I want something with just dead simple flat surfaces where we can do all the different techniques. And it's also not a stupidly expensive kit. It's like 25-30 quid for a tank. So it's not. We're not really bothered about the building part of it. It's a quick build. It's nothing too complex, but it's a nice. I mean, I probably could have chosen something else a bit flatter, but it's just a nice flat, square, simple surface to work on. We can do some brush painting, we can do weathering, we can do figure painting because it's got a commander in it. We can do figure painting. Sorry, Colin. And we can just have fun with it and with all kind of different effects. So we're going to be building the Punisher, which is the Leman Russ with the dirty, great big Gatling gun.
I know, Gatling gun, the clackiness.
Yeah, because you've got this little stubby micro beepis there, which is rubbish. You've got this letterbox toast making device there, which pops out donuts like the thing at Alton Towers, or you've got a dirty great big Gatling gun. Which would you go for? We had a very short conversation.
Yeah, it had to be a Gatling gun, a clanking this, didn't
Yeah,
it?
it's like, which one do you fancy? That one. Done. There we go.
But those guns will be greebles that will be used on my squig-off build.
Oh yeah, they'll see the light of day elsewhere. The good thing with this kit is, because it's a bog standard Leman Russ kit, there'll be loads of little bits on this that you won't end up using anyway. And the fun thing about this is the old style Leman Russ as well. Like if you buy a Leman Russ, just a bog standard Leman Russ kit, it actually has a slightly different body and turret design, because this is the old school, like 3rd edition Leman Russ. This is like, what year did this come out? This is probably like late 90s, this original.
Panzer say, let's see if I get this right. You're building the model first before painting it together. Boy, that's going to take some time.
Yeah. This is the one thing, he'll have finished building it by the end of today, and I'll be still on the second part.
I am actually going to build at the same pace as yourself.
Oh, can you deal with that?
I don't know. I've not tried it before.
I think not. So in this kit, it's dead simple. You only get 2 sprues. Standard floor and tracky bits. And then you've got the shell and the weapons and the dude. It's dead simple kit. That's why we got it. It's not a complicated one. You do get the standard Imperial Guard tank transfer sheet. I've got like about 1,000 of these sheets now.
Yeah, I've got them, yeah.
I've got millions of them. I've got like so many little Imperial Guard decals and stuff. When I paint my little Lego minifig Foxx character, I might use one of these little Aquillas on the t-shirt.
I also scan them in as well, so I've got them on the system in case I need to reprint any, but I've hardly used any of them anyway.
Yeah, you won't need to, because literally you get this in every single Imperial Guard vehicle ever.
But we're also doing it, am I right in thinking, in the grey colour scheme as well, wasn't it?
I don't know, actually. I haven't decided yet. I don't know.
Because that's the paint I bought.
Is it? We'll do it that colour then.
You did a list of paint. It was to replicate your grey Baneblade, because at the time you said you thoroughly enjoyed doing that paint job.
That'll do then. That'll do.
And it would be a good one to teach.
Yeah, that'll do. Well, we can do that then. I forgot we'd agreed that. That'll do. So it'll be like a German grey colour, like a standard, not necessarily Deathcore or Krieg, but it's going to be just to keep the actual painting simple. So you know.
I've got like a base of the Fang, a rust grey, venomous, whatever it is, grey.
Yeah. Well, we'll get that. We'll get that. If we want to, we could perhaps do. Excuse me. If we get
with what you want.
I need to clear my throat again. If we get the urge, once we've got the base colour down, if we get the urge, we could always pop in a stripe or like a cup. Because I've never been a big fan of the Cadian green and tan. It looks horrible.
No, that's it. Yeah, we was going to put the red and white. Is it the invasion stripes or the I've nicked this tank? And so
we'll do a bit of that. But I mean, you know, once we've got the base colour down, I might think about maybe if we do like a slightly lighter grey stripe or something, because there's a couple of effects I can share with the brush painted camera.
Mate.
But we're not doing that or that because they're rubbish.
Pretty much a painting mule, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
and that's the good thing. Once we finish painting this, if these actually fit. If you get yourself a big takeout, like a big Chinese takeaway in the tall tub, not in the thin tub, this fits in one of them. Fill it with Dettol. Done. You can repaint it. So there we go. That's what we're going to be doing. Let's have a quick look at chat and see what chat's saying. Paul J. Lewis is in. Afternoon, Master Fox, Student Colin, and everyone in chat.
Hello, Paul.
Excuse me, I do apologise. Colin, please don't waffle like Fox. I'm trying to stay awake for NASCAR tonight.
Bless her.
Because I mentioned Midnight Channel, Retro Rabbit says, friends. Night Shift, sorry. I love the way he does that. friends. I like midnight. I like Night Shift. Who else we got? People have come in.
Yep, Bob's in. Island Boy's in.
By the time Fox has stopped waffling, Colin will have had the kit finished. What time do you call this to arrive, says Panzer to Paul. Half time. Obviously, important Premier League day today. One eye on this, the other on the footy. Oh dear.
Absolutely.
And Jeff's in for Candygram for Mongo. Hi,
hello, Jeff.
Fox, Festa, and everyone in chat.
So that Fox can do his voice, the Carl Sagan of the community.
If you wish now, I'm not going to do it. It's too warm. It's so warm. I'm going to sulkily not do Carl Sagan because
I like on this how they've labelled it. L3, L2, R1, R2. I think that's brilliant.
Oh yeah, so you don't get the wrong track parts.
Yeah, I've not seen that before.
Yeah, no, it's quite surprising. Given it's actually a miracle they even put the track numbers, because in the old days it wouldn't have been unusual to not have even had the track numbers on there. As you know, like with the Valkyrie build, if you go through the Valkyrie, there's no part numbers anywhere.
No, that's right. Yeah, it's like yeah.
It's like here's to build the sponsons on the side. Any part numbers? No.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
So let's have a quick look at the instructions. We have some decisions to make. We're of course going to build the big fat Gatling.
Oh yeah.
Which is cool because then you get an extra bit of stuff to put on the back of the turret, as well as on the front.
Oh right, yeah.
So you build the turret as it is anyway, and then it's just you build the weapon, and the weapon just plonks on the end. So you can build, theoretically, if you want to, you could build all three and they just swap them out. But we're going to do the big Gatling, but you get a bit of extra stuff on the back for some reason. Let's have a look. We shall of course build the commander.
Absolutely.
I'll be doing you how to paint the dudes thing, hopefully. So we can basically just build it right up to the end of the instructions where you stick the gun on the end. I think it's about the same for all of them.
Yeah, that Gatling gun of goodness is the one to do.
Yeah, it's got to be done. It's got to be done. I'm just making sure there's no actual options before that. We just do them anyway. So basically, this Leman Russ is going to be. Remember that one I painted pink for George?
Yes.
It's basically that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a bit like a Warhammer equivalent of an old mail tank, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mark IV mail tank, basically.
Yeah. They're like the tiny tanks in Warhammer, but in reality, if you stood next to it, it'd be as tall as your house.
Yeah.
But in Warhammer thing, they're actually tiny. Right, so should we just crack on? I think.
Yeah, why not, mate?
Yeah.
Why not? Right, I'll just go and shake me primer then, because I'm ready to prime mine now.
Oh, shut up!
No,
you
I'm
tart.
not really.
Yeah, no, you're just going to sit there and read the chat. Well, you can chat Dolly then for the next 3 shows.
Absolutely, mate.
Jeff says, I just got in from doing yard work. I had to actually go outside. Shudder. Glad that's over for now.
Oh, bless you.
Yes. Oh, I have now seen Marcus, by the way.
Yeah, brilliant beard, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, I saw him last night, and it's like, you know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Sergeant Rex.
Good shout.
Sergeant Rex from the Star Wars type stuff.
Yeah.
Specifically from Star Wars Clone Wars, the animated series.
Yeah.
Sergeant Rex, he reminds me of.
Yeah, it is one of the best beards in the community.
Yeah. If you were to get him like an Endor assault outfit with the little hat and everything, it's perfect.
Paul's in. Paul D. Tommaso saying hello, everyone.
Hey, Paul.
Hello, Paul. Marcus is in as well.
Oh, hello, Marcus. Hello. So he just heard me compliment on his beard then.
Yeah, it's a beard of goodness, mate.
Marcus, you have to change your name now on YouTube to Sergeant Rex. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
Unless you don't like Star Wars.
When he sets up his YouTube channel, we can have that as his banner.
And then Disney will kick his arm.
Yeah.
Right, so let's crack on, shall we? Okay, first of all, we need 2 unnumbered parts. Brilliant. Thanks for that. So we've got to make the track units first.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the tedious bit. So we need 1 of them and 1 of them. Thankfully, they are chiral. Ooh,
I know, it's good though, isn't it, that they go to that thing of labour.
Are you sanding already?
Yeah, because I've
Christ.
just cut 2 bits off of the sprue, mate.
Oh,
Why?
God.
Why?
I'm not even finished cutting off the sprue.
Yeah, I did that. I thought when you said, "Oh, we'll make a start," I just got.
Yeah, you know what I'm like
out.
now. I'll make a start and then I have to talk for another 5 minutes.
That's right, mate.
Right, where are we up to? So, yeah, with these track parts, you can't get them wrong. They're different shapes, so I suppose they didn't need to number these, really.
Yeah.
I'll still get it wrong.
Which means us two will be ungluing these at some point. Yeah. This is why we dry fit everything, because no, I'm doing everything properly by the book, because I've been very, very good this time.
Good girl. Good girl. Right, where are we? And
it's good for me because it will slow me down a bit. Because
stand slower. God damn it, woman. Do you know? I'm only joking, by the way. Do you know? I've said before about when you realise something that's so blindingly obvious, but you've never realised it before.
Yeah.
when I was putting texture on that base for my WASD jacket jet thing.
Yeah.
And I put my texture paint on and glooped it on.
Yeah.
And I sprinkled on some little ballast and I sprinkled on some little tiny pebbles and things.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll push them into the paint and that might help them stick a little bit. And then I thought, oh, there's still some loose ones. So I thought, well, what I'll do, I'm like, I'll have to wait till it dries. I'll have to go over with some like thin down PVA that's got some washing up liquid in it. And then I thought, or why don't I just get my extra thin CA glue and my little needle applier and just go in between them. So I did that and I suddenly realised, why have I never done this before?
Yeah.
It's always been like you put your ballast and stuff down, then you get the PVA thin down and you do all this. It's like, why don't I just super glue them in place and then do some PVA to seal it?
Yeah, just sit there and you go,
Yeah. Dee. How have you been, my friend?
I've been fine, mate. Like I say, I've only been coming to the bench to do me shows at the moment because it's been a bit of a squirrely week, you know. So,
yeah.
So I'm having to just take things a little bit differently at the moment. But other than that, all good, mate. All fine, dandy, suave, windswept and interesting.
You can't take for granted just sitting at the bench for hours, can you, really?
No.
Like we can. No.
So, yeah. It's one of them.
I was about to ask you when we're going to see some grim fandango, but that you've answered the question now about not being at the bench all day.
At the moment, I mean, I've not even been able to film, mate, you know, which I've found a bit frustrating, if I'm honest, but you've got to listen to your body, haven't you?
I wondered what word you were going to say. Listen to your
yeah, no, so, yeah.
I try not to listen to my no.
So, yeah, I'll kind of... But we won't go into that.
No. So, what we shall do, say this building part will probably last a week or two, because we only do a couple of hours, don't we? So, in the meantime, before we start the painting stuff, we'll coordinate and we'll make sure we've got all the right paints and stuff, and we'll figure out what we're going to do and colour schemes and stuff for sure. Make sure you've got all the brushes we need. I think you should have all the brushes.
Yeah, if I remember rightly, what have I got? Because when we did this, we had exchanges in chat, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, all
base brushes, dry brushes.
You've got your broken toads and stuff. And
yeah.
you've got some... Oh, hello, and we've fallen out. 1 second. Let me fall back in again. Going back in because StreamYard is made of bums. There we go. I'm back again now.
Yeah. Base brush, artificial layer brush, a number 2 layer brush, a medium base brush.
Yeah, and you've got all your broken toads and stuff.
And I've got me toads as well.
Yeah, we'll just make sure you've got everything. There's only one specific brush you'll probably find useful that I can think of.
Which is?
An old base brush.
An old base brush,
an old, like the little round teardrop shaped one for the dry brushing, but you may have a small dry brush, like an army painter one or something, so we'll figure that out.
I've got that one. Got a little baby one of them.
Oh, that might do. That might do very nicely.
But, yeah, can always have a looky-loo, mate, see what else is needed.
We'll finalise all the colours and stuff before we do the painting. I'm sure we'll have forgotten something. You'll have to get some paints in or something.
Bound to happen. Well, you did send me a rather extensive list, didn't you?
Yeah, and I've completely forgotten now what we agreed, so I'll probably change my mind by the time it comes to painting and paint something completely different.
Oh, I see. So I spent 50 quid on paint and got you commission, and you want to change again, do you?
Quite possibly.
Like that with you, is it?
Yeah, damn. My ruse is... the jig is up.
Yeah.
No, not really. Right, I need more rough sanding nonsense. Hang on, let me get more rough sanding nonsense.
Oh dear. You're getting onto your serious sanding, are you?
No, I just need something a bit more grit.
Yeah, some of these nubs are a bit, aren't they?
Yeah. No, I don't want that. Oh yeah, I'll get one of them.
But then we have got weathering as well, haven't we?
Yes, so. The weatherage. And we'll keep the weathering simple. Like I say, because I just want to show you some simple techniques, and, you know, anybody who wants to follow along, you're more than welcome. We'll go at my normal painting speed anyway, so, you know, if you want to follow along, grab yourself one of these. They're good little, fun little kits.
Panzer says, beware, Colin, he's getting you back for Forge World. Yeah.
Yeah, I would never do such a thing. Yes, I would.
Yeah, you would.
I would never do such an egregious thing that I totally would do. Wait, what?
Well, he's going to be lost now that I've got a squig off on the go because...
Yeah, I can't make you go and buy a squig off from Forge World. Harsh.
Yeah, but, oh, mate, the prints have been coming out quite nicely this week.
Yeah. There is, of course, the Orc killer burster tank.
Oh.
And there's also the not gargantuan Squigoth, the large Squigoth.
Yeah, I've seen that one. That's that one that's in my to be added to my.
Yeah, good guy, good lad.
Because the Squigoth that I'm doing is going to need some company.
Yeah, it's going to need like offspring, isn't it? Like a baby.
Yeah. So.
Right. Let's get these parts glued together.
See, look, Foxy's gluing things together and I'm still sanding.
Yeah.
Who's a good boy.
You fettled with your brushes for a bit, didn't you? And distracted yourself. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Foxx spending your money, Colin. That's my job, says Sarah Jane.
Yes, she successfully pimped a couple of motorcycle kits recently to me, and yeah, she knows I'm a man of simple tastes, and I'm awake at that time of the morning. I'm pliable.
Yeah, you make him spend money in a different genre, Sarah Jane. I'll get him spending the Warhammer pounds. You get him spending the shiny things pounds.
Bless her.
Swig of water.
But no, she spotted a couple of kits that I wouldn't have seen, and it's like, yeah, you let me know.
Darren Edmonds is in. Welcome, Darren. Welcome.
Hello, Darren. How you doing, buddy?
Sarah Jane says, Colin, you have plenty of time to go have a kip, shower and a cuppa and still wait for Foxx to catch up. Rabbit says, the old Russes had 5 wheels in between the sides and the treads had no keys, so you just had to guess. All right, yeah, these aren't quite that old then. I don't know actually what year Rust version this was. It's probably early 2000s.
Normally say on the instructions or...
No, it's got 2019, but the instructions are more modern.
Yeah.
The old kit would have just had the paper. You know, like the instructions you got with the Stomper?
Yes.
That's what this kit would have had originally.
What epic set of instructions they are.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Games Workshop 2009 on there.
Oh, really?
It's what, 13 years old?
13 years.
Yeah. So this was when Games Workshop just started to they had just started to get good. They redid a lot of their kits from the old grumpy ones. Right, now it's time for tracks now. I've got to glue these two together, haven't I? Now it's very important when you glue these together, you do them the same way around. Because if you don't do them the same way around, you're an idiot.
Note to self, make sure I don't do that then, because he will mock me.
Oh, yes. But then you just have to go and buy another kit, wouldn't you? And then I'd be happy then, so...
Well, I've still got this idea of putting 2 of these together as like a catamaran even.
A catamaran.
Yeah.
You could do.
So...
God, I didn't know what that noise outside was, and it seems to be a child of some sort.
Oh dear.
I thought it was a dog. I thought, that's a funny sounding dog. It was like, dog's that? It's a
small humanoid in your vicinity.
Small annoying child of some sort. I don't know.
I've got to admit, those little kids in Cyberpunk are a little bit creepy, aren't they?
They are. Oh, were you watching yesterday?
Yeah, I was in the chat talking to you.
Oh,
mate.
you were, weren't you? Of course you were.
Yeah. See what I'm up against, folks.
Hey, I'm busy doing cyberpunky stuff at that point. Yeah, they are. They're just like in the same way that well, in a different way to Skyrim, for example, where the children in Skyrim are annoying because they've just got 2 voice actors.
Yeah.
In Cyberpunk, the children are scary because it's basically a child's body with just a generic adult's head on it, shrunk down to child size. It's very weird. I
may have been the person that wrote in that you drove like Miss Daisy, yeah?
I'll be perfectly honest, when I was reading the chat, because the chat's not right in front of me, I could barely see the chat, so I wasn't ever really sure quite who was saying what.
Yeah, it's like...
So my apologies.
That's all right. No offence taken.
Rabbit says, old GW instructions, step 1, please to be assembling model kittens. Step 2, it's being done now. Yes. Yeah. Right, so I've done that. I've made me little. Do you remember from the ice cream man? You used to get the things where it'd have the 2 wafers and the ice cream in the middle.
2 wafers with the ice cream, and you'd bite down on it, and the slab of the ice cream would fire out the back.
What were they called? They were called
wafers.
Were they?
Yeah.
I'm sure we used to call them something else. What did we used to call?
That particular ice cream there was a block, wasn't it, that came in the packet with 2 wafers. It was basically. When our ice cream man used to come round, you just used to say, I'll have a wafer, mate.
Oh, what did we call them? We called them choc ices. Choc ices, that's what they called them.
Oh, a choc ice for us was in the packet, which was surrounded by chocolate.
Yeah, I think we just labelled them, lumped them all in, basically, into one thing. But then we're northerners, we're poor, we didn't have such luxuries as options.
Fuck him.
Right, now I need to cut off 100 pieces of track and spend an hour cleaning them all up. Hooray!
Yay!
This is the one downside of tanks.
Ice cream sandwich, says Bill Cropper.
Yep, that's the American name. Ice cream sandwich. Hey, Bill, by the way, welcome.
Yeah.
Right, let's get the track done. So we need all the ones with R. That's fairly straightforward, I think.
You're doing all the ones with R?
Well, we've got to start we're doing the right track first.
Yeah.
Right? So
that's what I'm saying. You've got, look.
R.
Got the right one. Got the right one.
Goodly. I'm just going to double check now. Oh, hang on, wait.
Mate, if you've got the left one, I will mock you.
I've built the right track unit, but it's the incorrect track unit. I've built the other track unit first. Oh, well.
You've built number 2, yeah?
I've built the second one. Oh, well, never mind. We'll put that to one side.
Spoon.
Well, it doesn't actually say on there. Oh, well, I'll make this one now, then.
Well, what gave it away to me was if you see these 2 bits, see this little arrow that goes down and then everything's labelled right.
Yeah.
I just thought, well, they must be the halves for the right one, but the actual picture's wrong, the shape.
Yeah.
The picture should be that side without the tits on it, but...
Yeah. Well, I think I know what I did. I was looking at the sprue from that side.
Yeah.
And I wasn't... See, it says R on there, and I was looking... Do you know?
But anyway.
Don't be like Foxx.
Yeah.
Doesn't actually matter, really, but, you know. I'll just do these bits, and then we'll get the track units off. There we go, done.
Does really.
Well, no, I mean, it doesn't matter that I've done that one first, but, you know.
Oh, no.
Gives you more chance to catch up.
I know, it's unusual for you to say that to me, isn't it?
Toyed.
I can see where this is going to go, this string.
Are you calling me a small brown Richard? I
am. Small brown Richard III. It's actually a lot easier to sand when these 2 bits are together, isn't it?
Oh, I never thought that. Oh, that's the point. I never thought of that. God damn it.
It does give you a nice flat, equidistant even.
Equidistal. A medicinal surface.
Yeah. So you're learning things from me as well there, sir. I know, who'd have thought it, eh?
Learning new words. There we go.
Retro says, I've seen how the machine makes those ice cream sandwiches and it's thoroughly disappointing.
Is there no kind of like oozing or flumping effect? See, the most pleasing food I've ever seen made, apart from seeing mushrooms on a conveyor belt jostling, which is just so mesmerising. A conveyor belt filled with millions of mushrooms, little button mushrooms all just jostling along. It's like, I could watch that for days.
See, I've been binge watching a bit of YouTube because obviously not been at the bench.
Because it's YouTube, that's what it's for.
Yeah, I've been using the tablet next door. And I've been watching quite a few ASMR videos.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to mock me now. But I've been watching the shoe cobbler bloke, the guy with from Trings Engraving and Shoe Shop Repairs.
No, that's fine.
Absolutely entranced in it, and I've also been watching farriers shoeing horses, mate.
Oh yeah,
you know, the old dink-a-dink with the anvil and making the oaths and all of that.
Well, I can't mock you for that because I've sat there and I've watched. I found Japanese craftsmen the best. See, I don't like deliberate ASMR where it's somebody whispering or making little. I don't like that. That's just crap. What I like is when it's like a craftsman doing something.
Yeah.
That's very mesmerising.
Mate. Sitting there watching this guy do fiddle-back waists on shoes, mate. I'm like, I like that.
And it's like, and it's especially things like Japanese craftsmen when they're doing like cutting wood and stuff with a little tool, and it's just, I've sat and watched a very old man make pottery,
Yeah.
I've watched a very old man make a fountain pen.
Yeah.
I've watched a not very old man repair a book, which was brilliant because he basically he just rebuilt the book from scratch.
Yeah.
I've watched lots of people do woodblock printing because that's brilliant.
Yeah.
What else have I watched? I've watched so many videos of people making paper. It's unbelievable.
Oh, mate, another one you got to watch, Fox. How it's made, how they do the jeans, mate. They got this little suction thing that turns them inside out.
Ooh.
And they stand there and it's like...
Is that like watching a fox turn a rabbit inside out?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, mate, I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, a bit of the old shoe cobbling. Fiddle back waist. Oh, oh, mate. Proper.
Japanese blacksmiths.
Yeah.
They're always good. Making kitchen knives and scissors and things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then proper chef's knives. And
But for people making noodles, but people making proper Japanese paper is quite mesmerising. But yeah, Japanese ones.
So yeah, folks, if you too haven't got a life and you want to be like me and Fox,
yeah. But there are some really good ones out there. There's a few videos of a guy he's a Welsh stonemason, and he's just carving some writing on a monument, and he's talking about his craft, and he's become like an ASMR legend because all you can hear is and he's got a dead soft voice. And there was this video of him on the BBC website talking about the fact that he's now like an ASMR legend because he's like, I don't even know what this means. He's like an old guy. He's like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I proper love all of that. Muse is in. Hello, Muse. How you doing, darling?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the deliberate ASMR though.
No.
Like I say, people patting their fingers on the table or talking or reading stuff in a whispering voice I don't like that. That's just rubbish.
People putting fish tanks on.
That's all right. No, but because the stuff that's meant to be ASMR, it's more it's accidental ASMR.
Yeah.
And I think the Japanese are best because they just sit there so quietly working away so industriously. Well, I get bored doing something after 5 minutes, whereas a Japanese craftsman will do it for decades.
I watched one, and it was this old fella, and he's known as the Trim Whisperer.
Oh yeah.
And what he does is in the automotive industry, they send him like bumpers and things like that have got little dinks in them and that, and he sits there with old jewellers' bossing blocks and he's just
tapping the dents out.
Tapping the dents out bit by bit. And, oh, mate, I sit watching him for hours.
Yeah, I tried doing that. It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard doing that.
Well, I used to make coin rings years ago. And it was basically half crowns. And it'd have your birth year on it. And you used to drill a hole in the middle. You'd bung them in a bossing block to dome them, and then you'd put them on a jeweller's mandrel to size the ring, and you would hammer it out, and it would basically be a coin, but it would have like your date of birth around it, and it was just like, a gimmicky thing.
Are you saying that you were knowingly and illegally defacing coins of the realm live on the internet?
Absolutely.
Such an anarchist.
I know. Absolutely.
I think you need to get your punk outfit back again.
Nothing wrong with that, mate.
Right, I've made the correct one now. I've made the correct chalk ice.
I have joined so far. You're going to be so proud of me.
Go on.
I have so far only joined 2 bits of plastic.
Is it the right one?
And I'm sanding a bit of track. This is the right-hand side, this one.
Yep, that's the right one. That one.
As per the drawing of drawingness there.
Jolly good.
And I have now got R1.
Oh, you've got your track ready. I've got to sort my track now. Yeah, right. I'm going to write R on this just so I know which is. I'm going to just because I am Foxx.
I didn't need to do that because when you turn it round, you can actually see R through the top there.
Yeah, but you know what? You're not Foxx.
You're such a spoon.
In all things, you have to account for the Foxness of me.
If you're only working on one side at a time, as per the instructions, then you're not going to mix the track up, are you? Because all your left tracks are going to be on the sprue still, aren't they?
Yeah, no, but you have to remember I was only working on one track at a time, and I still messed it up because you have to put the Foxx bit of the equation into the equation. So I've marked it.
I see what you did.
Right, let's go and cut a load of track off now.
Oh, wow, that is, quite impressive.
Right, I went, what?
It's actually a nice sized tank, this, you know.
Yeah, I need... Hello, Mama Fox. I need row 1. Now be careful, because there are some L tracks in the middle of the R tracks on the sprue.
Yeah, I spotted them.
I've just noticed that now. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you little... Oh, that's just...
They sneaked
ooh.
them in.
Yeah, that's not right.
Panzer says, I am Mal, and as I'm repeatedly told, men can't multitask. No, we can't.
Myth. No one can multitask. The human brain is not actually designed for multitasking.
H can often be heard muttering, I'll look at him thinking he can do 2 things at once.
Yeah, but nobody can. The difference between men and women is that women can make it look like they're multitasking better than men can make it look like they're multitasking. But the human brain...
You can be sat in a restaurant with your missus, and she will know what conversation is going on around the surrounding 4 or 5 tables, and listen to you, and probably hear what the chef's saying in the kitchen.
No, that's just women having ears like a poop house rat.
Absolutely, mate. Fascinates me.
Yeah.
And then you say something, what was that? And they go, you not been listening? No. Them over there, she goes. Well, like, how the hell can you hear that all that way?
Also, why are you listening to other people anyway?
Yeah, and she's like...
I'm eating my dinner. That's the focus of my attention is the dinner.
Yeah. I'm focusing my attention on listening to you, dear.
Yeah, because my life's worth more than...
Yeah.
My life is worth something to me.
Yeah, because if I don't... yeah.
Because if you say, did you hear what they said over there? And you say no, and she'll be like, you're rubbish. But if you say, did you hear what they said over there? Yeah, she'll be like, why? Weren't you listening to me? Oh.
Exactly.
You can't
You're damned if you do.
Yeah, damned if you do and damned if you don't, and just damned.
It's like when they bring in 2 outfits. Which one of these do you think makes me look fat?
What you do is you just stand up and you run out of the store going, ah!
Yeah. And she always does it when she knows that I've got no quick, fast way of an exit.
Yeah, just shout, I'm on fire, and then run out the door.
I normally say it doesn't matter, my darling. They both make you look as elegant as a ballerina.
Yeah, you can't get away with that, though, because that's...
Yeah. And she looks at me and she goes, yeah, now say what you really think.
Yeah. That answer's just not going to wash, is it?
No, it don't end well for me, mate. And I sit there and I'm like, gulp. EC Idaho says, hello all, he says, hope everyone's day is well. Hi Fox, hi Colin. Hello, mate.
Hello, welcome. So I'm just clearing my throat there.
No, that's all right, geez.
Right, I have many bits of track. All with the magic R.
Yeah, I've got a couple of bits of track going.
You have to be careful because there are some L's in the middle of the R's.
Yeah, you told me that about 2 minutes ago.
No, I mean, but there's like the bits in the middle of bits that look like they're all R's.
Yeah.
Not just like in the same place, but like hidden in the middle of 2 R's.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you look at... Oh. Yeah. Right, so
I was listening to you, mate.
No, I meant as well as those.
Yeah.
3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1.
4.
East 4, 4, 4, 4, 5. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And
5.
I'm going for the safe option.
1,
I'm
2.
dry fitting everything.
I've got everything.
You are good. I'll give
I've got all my tracks. I'll just clean these up now for an hour. La 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 la. Now, unlike the Baneblade track, these aren't too bad. The Baneblade tracks have like the track pins are enormous and they've got a mould line going right down the middle of them.
That's right.
But on these, it's actually kind of small enough that you can get away with not having to worry too much about the mould line. You still have to sand it a bit, but it's not too egregious. So it's a bit faster doing these little tiny tracks compared to, say, Das Baneblade gefahren.
He says when we go, welcome to week 3, where we're still doing our first track.
Still doing the track.
Yeah, but there's no rush. That's how I see it.
No. I'm just listening carefully to see if Mama Fox goes downstairs or goes for a snooze.
Oh, really?
I think she's actually gone downstairs. Yes, huge victory.
Do you not have a floorboard that you can slightly unnail so that it squeaks?
Oh
so
no, we've got that in the stairs anyway, so I can tell.
Yeah.
Well, a door squeaks, a bedroom door squeaks anyway.
Oh, bless her.
I've been managing to help her avoid snoozing at the moment by tempting her with, like, if you're good today and you don't go and snooze for half of the day, I'll do X for your dinner.
Oh, bless her. Isn't it cruel? Well, I say cruel, but yeah.
Cool.
They're at that age, though, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I know she needs to do the snooze, but I have to be wary that she goes for a snooze and sleeps all day, or doesn't drink.
My mum went through that after she had a cancer scare, and yeah, I know exactly what you're going through.
Yeah,
mate.
I mean, she used to have snoozes, but it's at the moment it's like, is she having a snooze because she's older? Is it because she's sleeping all day because she's got something wrong with her again? I don't know. So
yeah,
we shall see.
Mine went through the defiant stage, the miserable stage, the I don't want.
Yeah.
Now she's back
there.
to herself, you know. But it took a while, mate.
Just don't give her a
Take a long
handbag.
time. Yeah.
Don't give her a handbag.
That's what I was saying on the brunch earlier on. My mum, I rung her during the week, did a video call with her.
Oh yeah.
And she, midway through, she said, "Oh, and another thing," and she started doing the pigeon head. You know?
Oh yeah. I started doing it then.
Yeah, she's like, "Do you know?" She says. I went, "What's that, Mum?" "I've got a good mind to get on a plane, go over and tell that Putin to turn it in and behave himself." She said, "He's getting right on my tits." She said, "I blame his mother. She obviously didn't tell him off enough as a child." I'm like, "Mum, so your idea of solving world peace?" Yeah.
So you've got to lamp it with your handbag.
Yeah, she was proper getting the ump about it.
Bless her.
"You may mock," she said, "but a good stern talking to will do him the world of good."
Russian troops have withdrawn from Ukraine following a visit from a little old lady.
Yeah, from Joan over at the
Yeah.
Bless her.
Oh, if her name's Joan, yeah, you've got no chance.
I did laugh at her. I was like, "Good girl, mate, good girl." "Well, what do you think?" I said, "I agree with you, Mum."
I agree with you. I definitely would send you over there.
Yeah. I said, "I'll pay for your flight tomorrow, love, but you can't come home." Joel Gritsin says, "Evening, Foxx, Colin, all in chat.
Hey,
no sigh again." Oh dear, he says, "Finger of shame for sigh."
Yeah, finger of shame.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have told him he's useless, and he basically said, "Well, I've got a life outside of YouTube, you know." He says.
And we all went, ooh.
Yeah, and we all did that holding of the handbag.
Yeah. Only Ponces have life outside YouTube.
Yeah. So since when did that become a thing?
Clearly old Ponce, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because he's gone all southern on us.
So that'll be them down there like that. Happy days.
Okay. You see what I mean about the tracks being the tedious bit?
Yeah, but
I mean, not tedious compared to like doing proper tracks, but
yeah, but it's kind of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same time. I mean, tedious compared to, like, you know, when you say tedious on a Warhammer kit, it's not that tedious.
Yeah.
It's all relative.
Yeah, it's not tedious like track links on a tank that Panzer may have sent me to get.
What did he send you?
He sent me a skiff. It's a tank, and it's got individual plastic track links.
What scale is it?
35th, I think.
Ooh, is that World War II or modern?
Modern.
I don't know what a skiff is. Apart from the thing they had a fight on in outside Jabba the Hutt's palace.
Oh yeah, I'm going to enjoy building it, but it was the glee in his eyes. It's got individual track links. So glad I'm not you. It's like, yeah.
He's like, la 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 la. Oh look.
Dave mocked me about it, so Panzer sent him one and all. So he went back into my good books for that.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
But no, you're very, very generous, man.
Yeah. I've only had to encounter individual track links once.
Yeah.
And that was when I said to Pete Mate at E-Models, I'll build I'll do that new TACOM. Was it TACOM or Dragon?
Oh, the Riffield Panzer Ulfs that you sent to Tony.
Panzer Alf G.
Yeah.
That I was like, and then they said, "Do you want to do the Millennium Falcon?" Brilliant, I'll send the tank to Tony. Bye.
Yeah.
So
I've got that in my stash, that tank.
Ausführung G. How's G in German? It's J, isn't it? J.
Yeah.
pronounce it J.
Beautiful kit.
Ausführung. Sonderkraftfahrzeug.
Ross is in, Scale Model Ninja, saying hello. Hello, Ross.
Hey,
How
Ross.
you doing, mate?
So
Hope you're doing all right. Love to you and Cora.
Yeah, we will do our best to monitor the chat today again, but as you know, me and Colin,
I am doing my utmost to keep one eye on it, folks. So
me too. Me too also as well.
bear with me. Bear with me. It's not even my show, is it?
Jeff says, I want to someday build a tank with individual track links.
Good man.
God, can you imagine doing one of them 1/16 scale tanks? Oof. That probably wouldn't be so bad, because at least then the track links are massive. Whereas doing a 1/35th track, with the resin...
I'm always very careful about that, because I worry that Pete mate will see that as me volunteering.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Ted did this. I don't mind doing big kits. There's a big Titanic coming. Ted built that for me.
Yeah, but at least 1/16 scale tanks are like manageable. They fit on your work, but they're not like 4 foot long.
No.
Right, that's my tracks almost cleaned up.
Normally, every time I say I need to pick my next E-models build, the other three go, Dora. It's like, behave.
It is the way of
Behave
things.
yourselves.
It is the order of things.
Yeah. And then we all do it to the next one that says I need to pick my next one. We all go, Dora.
Dora!
One of these days, Pete is going to allocate one of us. I just can feel it.
Nah, not now. They're up to like 600-700 quid.
Yeah, it's a big hit, isn't it?
Yep. Well, that's the thing. When it's a kit that's no longer in production, you can ask what you want. It does surprise me that he manages to keep getting them. I know where he gets them from, and I'm not going to say where he gets them from, but I know where he gets them from. And it's a miracle to me they keep finding them.
Yeah, Sarah Jane, can you deduct Panzer's house point for bragging?
Is he bragging?
Yeah, he's bragging that he got a house point in caps. Oh, Colin, he says I got a house point.
Yeah, what happens on the mile stays on the mile, dude.
Yeah, Retro says there was a door at his local hobby store and it was $1,500.
Yeah, that's about right.
Canadian, yeah.
Yeah, because they are about 600, 700, 800 quid now.
Yeah.
Because they're out of print. They don't exist anymore.
More chance of finding hair on my head.
Yeah. Steady, Harris. Wait, what are you up to?
Pig for your trouble.
What are you up to?
I'm gluing on the bottom track, mate.
Really? I'm still cleaning my first piece of track. Wow.
Yeah, I dry fitted all the front ones.
I'm trying to get this. I've decided to get the mould line off the teeth on the track, and it's a bigger job than I thought, and I'm regretting it now.
Oh,
but
bless you.
I've started it, so because it's not like I'm going to cover it in mud to cover it up. I could do, but I won't be doing that as a technique.
Yeah.
Do 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 do.
No.
I shall be sticking to brushwork only.
Figured out that it's far easy for me to run my scraper along the teeth with the tracks in place.
Ah, that's all right then.
See, this is Festa's assembly techniques one-on-one.
Yeah.
You could also get the edge of your sandpaper right along there like that, and it just knocks that mould line straight off.
Knock it off. I was watching somebody build tanks the other day, and it was a 1/35th tank with metal tracks.
Yeah.
And resin track pins, and I'm like, what?
Oh!
I'm like, bro, that's not going to end in tragedy with every single track pin snapping every time you try and push it in, is it? Like, why would you...
Yeah, that's a bit gash.
Yeah, it was like, why would you... Oh, that's horrible, because it's resin, so it's not going to be the right... It's going to be too wide anyway.
Yeah.
It'll expand and be too... And then you've got to push it in on... Oh, ping snap. Oh, ping snap. Oh. Wow, that was a really bad idea. Metal tracks and resin track pins. That's one track done.
You're good. I'm impressed with
slow.
you, soldier.
I'm slow. I'm not good. Right, that's R3.
It's not a race, dear. It's not a race.
No, I know. But I'll still win.
Lamekins.
R3. You have to pay attention now to which way round the little
yes.
sticky up bit on the end goes, otherwise you end up with the wrong end at the wrong end. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
The little tooth that sticks out at one end.
Yes. The nobule.
Nobularita. Okay, well,
Or as I would say, that end has got a tip.
Look at the nobulation. I checked my this week's playthrough of Cyberpunk, and there was no limited monetization.
Oh, really?
Because there was no exposure of beepis or man bottom.
Oh, you didn't have to do giblets, did you? No.
No. So I need to make sure I don't at any point remove my trousers from my character without putting trousers on him first.
Yeah. You haven't got no women walking around with their liver and onions out, have you?
Nope.
Okay.
There are a few adverts in game where, you know, there's like maybe a lady bearing her bottoms.
Oh, right.
But she's wearing an item of clothing, so you know, there's some slightly rude adverts, but hopefully nothing will get it pulled monetized. So I have to make sure when I swap trousers on my character, I just literally swap. I don't take them off first. I just swap them, because otherwise that's where it goes a bit wrong.
Candy Graham says, I keep looking for a chibi Dora kit, but I haven't found one. Now that would be cute.
That would be good, that. The funny thing is, you know, those little chibi Mong tanks.
Yeah.
They're a perfect size for Warhammer figures.
Yeah.
That's why I keep making the little chibi tanks and putting a Warhammer tank commander in the top, because they just look like little.
Wasn't it Cy Reynolds who did the grot tank conversion on the couple?
Yeah, he made some grot tanks out of the little Shermans and stuff. They just are the perfect size. They're almost the perfect size for like Warhammer scale, which is about 1:63.
Yeah.
I think. Heroic scale 28mm, it's about 1:63 scale.
Yeah, there or thereabouts, isn't it?
Mm. That's the difficulty. They're not even actually technically 28mm scale, because they're not actually designed to look the right as humans. I've done 2 bits of track.
Oh, I'm proud of you, soldier.
I'm getting faster.
I am impressed.
It's always the way when you're doing like things like this, where you've got a lot of things to do. The first one you do it really carefully. By the time you do the last one, it's like...
Rabbit says, are the chibi tanks the same company that makes the egg jets? I think they're different companies. I know Meng do them, and some other one, the Japanese one in there that does them.
Yeah, Meng do the chibi tanks and some of the chibi planes. They do, like, you know, the Mosquito and the Lancaster and stuff.
That's right.
Because it's World War II, Meng World War II.
Yeah, World War II, yeah.
The egg planes, like the F-16s and stuff, that's Hasegawa.
That's it. That's
I think.
What I was trying to think
I think that's Hasegawa.
Yeah.
The ones where it has like the plane and a chibi-looking Japanese lady on it.
That's it.
Because of course it's a female pilot.
Yeah.
How's yours coming on? What are you up to? Where have you up to?
Oh, where am I up to? I'm just about to close off this bit.
Ooh. Are you gluing as you go?
Yeah.
I'm going to get all my bits cleaned up first.
Yeah, now I've got all the dry fitting done on that long section round its Aris. I'm happy where things are going now. So.
Yeah, as long as you get the tracks in the right order on these things, they do fit perfectly.
Absolutely.
Baneblade's more tricky because it's not a closed loop.
No, that's right.
And you've got to get it round that funky idler wheel and the feed wheel, but...
Yeah.
Sorry, the sprocket and is it sprocket and idler? I can't remember now. I don't know.
I think so, yeah.
But you've got to make them kind of... There's a bit where it's a little bit tricky. But on these things, it's just... You can't really go wrong. Says me. I am aware that it's me saying that.
Yeah, this is why, if you noticed, I've stayed silent and left you fully exposed to that statement.
You didn't stay silent because I could hear your jaw muscles contracting the crap out of themselves.
Yeah, that's me grinding my teeth so that I couldn't say anything. Yeah. Yeah, it's like... Yeah.
That's R1. I'm a secret R1 drinker. Sorry.
No, yeah, I remember that advert.
Not in the UK? You won't know what that means.
Yeah.
I'm a secret lemonade drinker.
I want to try to sleep, but it's one of those nights.
The thing is, though, if you've ever done that when you woke up in the middle of... We're talking about this brand of lemonades called R Whites. Yeah. And they had an advert where this guy's creeping down to the refrigerator in the middle of the night because he wants to drink. And it's like, well, first of all, why is your lemonade in the refrigerator? Yeah. Because you don't tend to keep it in the fridge. Because it's not that kind of lemonade. But also, if you've ever done that, you've ever gone, like, woken up in the middle of the night dead thirsty and gone downstairs and drunk fizzy pop, it's the worst thing you can do.
Oh, it's the worst thing you can do, isn't it?
I know.
Yeah.
I always remember, though, funnily enough, when I used to like go on the beer sometimes on a Sunday, if we'd have a good session, I wouldn't get like falling over fighting drunk. I'd just get nicely warm.
No, you'd get inebriated, not
I'd get
Brahms, but
you'd get sleepy, and I'd go home and go to sleep because I'd be sleepy.
Yeah.
I'd probably inhale a kebab at some point.
Yeah.
But then sometimes, because you're dehydrated, I'd be dreaming about drinking orange squash. Like, dilute to taste, not like orange juice, but orange squash. And I'd be dreaming about just having a glass of it and swig it, and it'd be the sweetest drink in the world in my dream. And I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh, I need to drink orange juice because it's the sweetest drink. And then I'd drink it and I'd be like, oh, disappointed. Because I'd have like hangover mouth and it wouldn't taste sweet at all. Yeah. And it was like, oh, that's not as awesome as I thought.
Candygram says, I would, wait for it, he says, be adorable. I'll get my coat. And Panzer replies, exactly, Foxx. Has a goer.
So, right, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.
They're all doing it.
Yeah, we do the puns around here, thank you very much.
Oh, that was funny. Imagine people going, hey, that ended quick.
Yeah.
Did I fall asleep in my armchair?
Yeah, we do the puns around here. No, we don't really. But if you're going to do puns, put some effort into it.
Absolutely.
I was trying to think of a pun just then and I couldn't think of one, so I decided not to. I've nearly finished cleaning up my tracks.
Oh, I'm proud of you, soldier.
I'm a soldier. I'm not a soldier.
He's a very naughty boy.
He's not a soldier. He's a very naughty boy.
Very naughty boy. Panzer says, we too can do bad puns. Yeah. Meanwhile, Candygram says, let's watch our little square friend as he goes about his square business. I knew you wouldn't be able to resist.
Our square friend is terribly confused. Everyone needs to watch that Flatland thing at least once in their life. And then watch it regularly. As well as that animation called Horse, which is brilliant. There's nothing more satisfying than hearing Carl Sagan say hypercube.
Hypercube.
But it's the way he's got like kind of fat floppy lip sound when he says bees.
Yeah.
Hypercube.
Yeah, he had a way of speaking, didn't he? Bless him.
Yeah.
Very entrancing watching his stuff.
I was indeed entranced. Entranced even. Sorry, went all southern there. Right, R1. Because I'm a secret R1 drinker. That goes
R1.
on there. You can actually dry fit all these and then just glue them in places without taking them off. R5. R5 standing by.
Did you do R2? R2. See what I did?
I'm trying to whistle then.
Yeah, that's one thing I can't do.
I can, but whenever I need to, I suddenly can't. It's really annoying.
Yeah. My missus can proper do the good old, rugby player whistle, Fingers in the gob and it, it's like Concord flying over.
Whistling, like calling all the ranch hands in.
Yeah. And I'm
I can't do that. I've never been able to do that thing with the... I don't know how you're supposed to... I don't understand.
No, nor do I. It's witchcraft and tomfoolery.
I do not understand these things because it has no concept of whistling.
So, yeah.
I'm gluing my tracks in place. God bless her and all who sail in her. I'm only gluing them. The thing is, they're only lightly glued in because I'm not gluing them from the tabs underneath, but hopefully it'll just run down and do the dirty deed.
It does the job, mate. Does
no,
the
that was
job.
far too much. I've dribbled glue everywhere. There we go.
Oh, you've not dribbled it, have you?
Well, it went down that bit of piping, but it'll go away.
You've dribbled all over your bench,
I
haven't
may
you?
have drooled a little bit.
No.
No, it went off the side and pooled where all the rivets are, but thankfully it just evaporates away, so... That's its nicht richtig. The only risk with these is that it falls off, is that you've put the two sides too close together and it doesn't quite fit properly. That's a risk, and then one bit sticks up. You see that quite often on these.
Yeah, no.
Quite
pleased with that.
people build them and you'll see one bit of the track just sticking up a little bit.
Yeah, the old that drive. It's like when you see a car with one wonky wheel, it's like...
Yeah, it's going...
Yeah, it's like, nah.
Well, like every single goddamn trolley I ever, shopping trolley I ever use.
Yeah, always has that one wheel, doesn't it?
I never get the wobbly wheel. I get the wheel that goes and sticks.
Yeah, I get the one that goes...
Oh, God, I hate them.
Yeah, it's like, really?
You get the farty wheel.
Yeah.
Not the party wheel, but the farty wheel.
Yeah, that's the one thing my missus says she doesn't miss. Having to cart me around the supermarket.
What, in the back of a trolley? Like a 5-year-old?
Well, I used to get bored, right? You know when you go in the supermarket, right? Most blokes will know this.
Yeah.
We have a very short attention span. So the wife will say to us,
What are we
you
talking about?
stay by shopping, supermarket, grocery shopping.
Sorry, my attention span wandered then, sorry.
I know it did. So she would say, you stay by the trolley, I know where everything is, I'll go and grab whatever.
You're
So
like,
you
"Ugh."
stand there. So you stood there, and within that micro millisecond, you get bored, don't you? So you wander off.
Did you have that face like the puppy that's been left outside the shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The missus can't find you, then when they do find you, I told you to stay by the trolley. You're like, I'm not 12, love. But anyway, I digress. As a bloke, you all go to walk somewhere and you get that barricade of like 5 women across an aisle having to talk about baby food and nappies with their pushchairs, and you can't get round them, can you?
Yeah.
Or you get that one person that keeps bumping you with their trolley because they're just a spoke. Well, straight away, when that used to happen to me, they became my target.
Enemy, public enemy number 1, absolutely.
Yeah, so what I would do is, as they walked off to their trolley, if I was in, like, say, I don't know, the fish aisle, I'd look for the most expensive bit of salmon. And I'd bury it in their trolley amongst their stuff. And then that was it. I'd make sure the wife was slow enough that we followed this victim all around the supermarket. And I'd keep stacking stuff in their trolley. And then... You would make a point when you got to the checkout to be right near them as the big salmon, or, you know, their bill mounted up, and they go, how comes it's that much? And they're looking for what it is that's cost them this much.
Yeah, you say, no, love, you need to go to that till there. Why? Just go to that till there.
You know, and if it's an old couple and he's a particularly obnoxious old fart, a pack of 3 used to get buried in the trolley. So that when his missus was putting them on, what do you want these for, Albert? Yeah. What love? What love? Any blokes out there that haven't done it, supermarket sweep,
I have to say, I'd never thought of that, but now I know about it.
You've got to do it, Fox. It's so satisfying because you follow them around. You think, yeah, I'll get you back, you git. And they've got, like, say, the priciest cuts of meat, and, you know, you've replaced all their value brands with proper brands. And,
oh, yeah.
Just be on the checkout.
Especially if they're old and doddery, and therefore they go over to a shelf to look at something. They take half an hour, so you've got time to completely change everything.
Oh, yeah. You can proper have fun with it. And it is great fun because you hear the wife say, and make sure you pick them ones because you know that I don't like those.
You know what I'd be tempted to do? You know what I'd be tempted to do?
Make sure you put a tin of those in.
Oh, God, yeah. I'd be tempted to have a second trolley, and then when they're not looking, just swap their trolley of stuff for this completely random second trolley, and then they just walk off with their trolley, and they'd be like, what?
Yeah, just ran some trolley with random stuff.
Yeah, just leave their actual trolley, God knows where, and they never find it. Right, I've done one track unit.
See, you know full well you do it. Yeah, look. Oh. Can we do...
It's like the world's most rubbish thin tank. It's like...
The thing is, though, saying that, if you was to put a turret each side, you know, like it would be so cool.
If you were just to glue those two together like that.
Yeah. Have a little grot poking out the side or whatever.
It reminds me of something like little cilia, little single-celled organism.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the track go around being a little cilia. It's like a rotifer or something. Rotifer. Retro Rabbit asks me, have you watched the Halo series yet? Nope, because I don't have Paramount Plus or NBC or whatever it is. No. And in the UK it would be on Sky, and I don't have Sky anyway, or Virgin. Don't have any of that. So I can't watch Halo. I can't watch Star Trek New Voyages. These are the Voyages. I've only got
not seen any of them.
No, I've got Disney Plus and I've got Amazon Prime, and that's it.
Yeah.
However, I think Cy Reynolds is sorting things out for me, so I can watch all these things that I can't watch.
No, bless you.
He's got all these services who will probably enable something for me.
Yeah. He's a good man. And then mock you for not watching any of it.
Mm-hmm. For some seemingly no reason at all, unless it's me because I made a little R2 noise. Rabbit says, C-3PO is a protocol droid used for translating, but it seems outside of galactic standard. Everyone is fairly capable of understanding various droids in the Star Wars universe. True. It's like, blub, 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 blub. Oh no, he wants to go over there. What? How did you...
Yeah, but that's a bit like that cat, wasn't it? Rah, 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 rah.
Charlie says.
I'd skip me. He used to go, yeah, Skip, down by the old
Timmy's fallen down the well. And,
yeah.
Rabbit says, I always get distracted by the Hot Wheels displays at the grocery store.
Oh, good man.
I get distracted by... Now, I say this is a bit... Well, I used to get distracted by the video game section, even though it was at the other end of the store completely.
Yeah.
But now you walk in now and they've got... My local Tesco, they used to have quite a big video game section, but you walk in now and they've got one little tiny rack the size of a Citadel paint rack that says Xbox on it, and it's just a handful of Xbox, PlayStation and Switch games, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, really? That's your entire game section?
A lot of it now, though, is downloadable, isn't it?
Yeah, but they should still sell them.
You know, so optical media now is becoming rarer than them rocking horse poo, mate. So have a swig of tea.
Darren Edmonds says, I never suffer from road rage, but take me to a supermarket and I get trolley rage in less than 5 minutes. Joseph Kelly, hey Joseph, says, Fox, Carl Sagan blew past me in his orange Porsche on the Oakland-San Francisco Bay Bridge once. I even saw the Phobos license plate. It was a religious experience.
Oh, mate, have yourself a super-duper house points, brownie points,
yeah, you get all the house points.
A gold star.
You get all the house points for that.
I mean, I'm really pleased with myself that I haven't built the whole Leman Russ yet.
And Rabbit says, you are truly blessed, Joseph. Candygram says, nice. Candygram, no, I was going to say something. What was I going to say? No, ignore me. Never mind. Chain of thought. Right, let's do some more tracks.
Yeah.
So, make sure these are all L. Oh, L.
By powers of deduction, these can only be left-hand ones now.
You'd say that, but...
Yeah, still going to check them, though.
Yeah, because if you don't...
I'm actually looking to make sure that I haven't got anything that says R on there.
Fate will kick you in the gluteus maximus.
Because I know the mocking that I would get would be merciless.
I fully expect to mock you for doing something wrong and then realise I've done all of it wrong.
Yeah.
But, like, towards the end of the build, I'll be like, oh, for crying out loud.
But no, we've both been really looking forward to this little series, because for you, I think it's brilliant for your channel.
Thank you.
Because it lets you pass on some of your wealth of knowledge, even though you say yourself, oh, I don't think I'm that good. You are, you know you are.
Yeah, but I'm not teaching you. I'm not teaching you how to paint. I'm teaching you how I paint. That's the thing.
You're good enough to take the time to pass on some of your tricks of the trade, and I think it's a perfect opportunity for viewers that haven't done this to learn from it.
I know you're good for it. I know you're good for it. I'll accept checks, postal orders.
Absolutely. Oh, he ain't cheap, folks. Believe you me.
I'm so not cheap.
Why do you think I'm sat here in just a pair of boxers?
I am cheap, actually. I've decided now.
Yeah, he is the cheapest of cheap dates.
I am.
But no, all joking aside, you know, it's good for Fox, it's good for me, it's good for you guys and girls out there, because not everyone can paint. And, you know, I'm always the first to admit, I'll say to Fox, how did you do that? How did you do that? What did you use to do that? So,
but that's the beauty of it is, I say, hopefully by the end of it, you'll have a few techniques that you've got some experience of, and that you can then either use them as they are, or you can put them in your palette and come up with other techniques based on that.
So, because otherwise you're going to get two large boxes, one with an insane blade and one with a Warlick in, and it'll be, you can paint these. But no, this is the thing, because I can then take these newfound additions to my library, should we say, if that makes you feel better.
Rabbit says, and obviously don't give any spoilers away, because I haven't watched the new Star Trek series, but he says, in the new episode, one of the new episodes, third episode, something in the episode is the derelict Ontario Place Atlantis nightclub, Cinesphere, here in Toronto, 50 minutes drive from my house.
Oh,
cool.
wow.
It must be weird when, like, you know, like we watched like a series, like whatever that series is, be it cop show or action show or something, set in, say, America, and to us it's just a setting, like they're walking down a street and it's here's some buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
And yet it must be weird if you actually live there in that place, because to you it's like they're walking past my local butcher shop, but they've made it look like a grocery store.
Yeah, but I've had that when shows have been filmed around London, like Steptoe and Son and things like that. And you're like, oh, look, that's the end of Garrett Lane. That's only down there, you know, and it's,
I'll tell you
the
what.
one that was the best one was a show called Citizen Smith, in Popular Front, because it was round South London where I was getting raised. So, yeah.
I'll tell you what's weird is there's for some reason, I've developed this ability to instantly know whenever something's being filmed on the 20th Century Fox backlot.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because they've got this backlot that's like a standard sort of, it's like a standard urban city street, like it's got brownstones and stores and stuff.
Yeah.
And they've used it in Bones, they've used it in Castle and loads. It's been used for so much stuff. And it's like, it's a nightmare now, because every time I watch something where they film something in a diner, but it's on a corner, and you're like, oh look, it's the Royal Diner that they used in Bones. It's the same set. They've just redressed it. And then I was watching Castle. There's one episode of Castle where there's like an episode where they find a body in a pizza oven.
Oh yeah, I know the one. Yeah.
And it's like, you know, Fantastic Nick's Pizza, and there's like 3 different pizzerias. And then like about 3 seasons later, I was watching this episode, and I'm like, they're talking to somebody in a shop, and I'm like, it's a bakery, and I'm like, hang on, is this the same set, the same storefront set? And I looked at it, and it looks totally different on the inside, but there was just one window, and I'm like, and I got both episodes.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because in the pizza episode, you've got Castle and Beckett walking up to the pizzeria across the road. They cross the road and they're talking. In the bakery episode, they do the same thing. They walk up to the crime scene and they cross. And it's like, it's the same. They've used this. It's the same building. They've just changed the interior. And it's like,
are they going to have the same 2 angry Nicks over the other side, looking rather?
It's like, but it was like they just changed it, and it's like, wow. This. I mean, I don't. You know. I understand using the same backlot, but really using the same building? It's quite funny.
Yeah, we used to get a lot of that.
But it's very weird that just from a pure brief glance, I recognised it was exactly the same building. I'm like, really?
I mean, when Citizen Smith was being done, you got so used to them filming that you just went about your business.
Oh yeah.
You know, and yeah, but it was quite funny. But it was funny because my Aunt Wynne, she always called Streatham in London St Wreatham, because she tried to be a bit Hyacinth Bouquet, you know.
St Wreatham.
Yeah, just off to St Wreatham, it's like Streatham, Aunt. You know what I mean? But, yeah. That's just her way, bless her. She had the phone voice, but in real life as well, you know.
Oh yeah, Mama Foxx has the phone, or had the phone voice. Hello.
And she'd be like, oh, they're only filming that show again. She sits down the road. So of course, as kids, we'd all be leg it straight out the door to see if we could get on telly. Like,
oh yeah. You never know. You might have been on telly.
Yeah, if you see someone with a slightly crooked fringe in a pair of high-waisted trousers with a cheesecloth shirt on,
wait, hang on, that's every child in the East End.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's every kid in that area in the 1970s.
Pretty much, yeah. If he's riding a rally chopper,
it's still every kid.
Yeah, still me. And yes, I did have the playing cards on the spokes.
Yeah. The funny thing is, it's weird, right? But it's weird to think that you could have at some point been on television.
Yes.
And not known it.
Yeah.
I mean,
my mum was in an episode of Beryl's Lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, not as an actress. She just happened to be walking out the greengrocers when they was filming.
It's like I've been around. I've seen people filming stuff when they were filming Cracker back in the 90s.
Oh, right, with Robbie Coltrane.
Yeah, that was set in and around Manchester and places like that. So
Oh, right, yeah.
I might have been in the background, but I was. I had a little bit of an. I was dumping some stuff. This was last year. I was dumping some stuff at my local recycling centre, and there was a little camera crew there doing some filming for one of these shows where they take some piece of furniture that somebody's thrown out and they renovate it.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
It's on the BBC or something.
Yeah,
and
the
they
reclaimers.
Yeah, they were talking to me about my car. And stuff like that. I'm just having a conversation. Oh, and that's your alarm for 2 hours.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
Time for you to get and have a wander.
I am upright. I don't need a wander, mate. I'm fine.
Okay.
But I'm upright.
I'll take you at your word.
Yeah, no.
Millions wouldn't.
I would turn the camera around, but
No.
No,
So,
it's of a nervous disposition.
So I might have been on there briefly, even if not just to have my car in the background.
Yeah.
But
good for you.
it's weird to think that all of us could be on telly at some point in our lives. Will have appeared on television, and nobody will ever, we'll never know about it. It's when you see like footage of like, you see old world, like turn of the century, like 1915 footage of like, I don't know, just people milling about outside a factory or coming out of a cinema or something. It's just like old film footage from way back when.
Yeah.
And you think all these people who are like long since dead, they've.
Oh yeah, you will see me and my wife on the TV if ever you watch back Chris Eubank fights.
Oh yeah.
Because we used to go to all the fights at Olympia that he used to fight down there. And so we did appear several times.
But it's just anyway. It's just to kind of poignant to think of all these people that. You're sitting here now in 2022 looking at a bit of film stock of post-Victorian people coming out of a factory, all the cheeky chappies in their three-piece suits covered in whatever gunk from the factory, and they're all smoking tabs. And none of them would ever thought for a minute that 100 odd years later they could have been watched by thousands and thousands of people who never knew them.
I don't know whether you're the same as me, but when you watch that old footage of ye olde London or wherever, when you see all the little people milling around and the coronation or the Jubilee of Queen Victoria, that sort of thing, you sit there and you then realise that every single person in that shot is dead. Yeah,
they're all dead
and
now.
That's quite...
It's a grounding thought, isn't it?
It is. It makes you realise your own mortality, doesn't it? And you sit there and you think there's thousands of people. The classic one was the cup final at Wembley, wasn't it, with the White Horse? Yeah. Where, there was 120,000 people back then, and you think every single one of them is gone. Yeah.
And you think, all my worries and stresses that are all very, very important to me at this exact moment in my life, it might be a moment of happiness or doom and gloom or anything like that, and yet at the end of the day, 100 years from now, somebody's watching a bit of video and I'm on it in the background.
It's very poignant. I mean, it's a prime example, isn't it? I mean, I originally set this channel up, my channel, as a legacy, because you know the reasons why, Foxx. And to think that when I'm no longer here, people will still be able to sit and watch that is quite strange, isn't it? It's quite surreal almost, isn't it?
It's kind of weird. And it's a way to... I often find myself as well when I watch footage, and even so, not so much... This is really weird. It's not going to really make any sense when I explain this, but especially when I look at old photographs, and colour photographs especially, from days gone by, and I'm talking like 1970s or earlier, and not like Ponzi, but like just normal everyday life photographs, people on the street and stuff. I just get this overwhelming sort of feeling of like, it's weird. It's kind of, I can almost hear and smell and the place, and I can almost feel the breeze on my head.
that nostalgia, isn't it? That
Yeah,
revisiting it. Yeah.
And you can almost feel what it was like to be at that moment in time. But also, I find myself really wanting to know. Like, there's one photograph. There's a photographer who had an exhibition. It was, a lot of them were like pictures from Butlins camps in the 1950s and 60s. And there was one in Wales, and it was basically a photograph of this couple with their 2 kids walking towards the camp. Yeah. And it was taken in about 1982 or something.
Yeah.
And yet this family were obviously poor because he was wearing the most 1970s suit you can imagine. Yeah. And he looked like he was looking at the camera with this really weird, kind of slightly evil-looking grin on his face.
Yeah.
In this over the top 1970s 3-piece suit.
Yeah.
Which obviously he was of the economic bracket where he had that for special, and he'd had it for like 20 years.
Yeah, Sunday best.
Yeah. But he had this really weird look on his face, and his wife was the kind of, you remember the sort of slightly dumpy, ugly one from On the Buses?
Yeah.
His wife looked like that, kind of standard 1970s lower class.
Yeah.
Not particularly attractive, sort of that kind of person in dumpy clothing. And they had like two little girls with them.
Yeah.
And it was poignant in a number of different ways. One was his expression. He was looking directly at the photographer, at the camera. So he's looking right out at you for a start. Whereas his wife and the kids look happy and his wife looks flustered and tired.
Yeah.
He's got this real kind of psycho killer look on his face.
Oh, really?
And the fact that he's this small, skinny guy in a way out of fashion suit.
Serial killer eyes.
Yeah, and he's got this really like unglamorous woman with him, I assume his wife, who's like frumpy and middle aged, and it's like there's a story here. There's a real story.
Yeah.
And so apart from the nostalgia of it being an old photograph, and you see.
Yeah.
I sat there and thought, I really want to know who these people are and what happened to him. Who is this guy? What did he do? Because he couldn't look more like some kind of evil, twisted serial who's just lured this woman and her kids to Butlins.
Yeah.
If he tried, but I'm sure he was a really nice guy. But it's like, but it was an AP Associated Press photograph, so there's no information. But it's like
Dr. Crippin eyes.
And it's like, I really want to know who this person was. Who was he? What? And I find myself doing that all the time, looking at old photographs and thinking, I want to know the story of this person.
I look at old footage like that, or like you say, old photos, especially if you're in a bric-a-brac shop. They always have a box, don't they, of old photographs. Of maybe a couple having their portrait taken, all in the Victorian garb. Or you'll see like a road scene of just a gaggle of people with a bus with an horse in front of it. And I stand there and I'm looking at that photo of all them people and I'm like, what happened to them? What was their story? What was their day-to-day life like?
That's exactly what I get.
I wish I could go there and pay a visit. And oh, mate,
it's amazing because like I love looking at old photographs and footage, like just purely for that. In the same way that people like looking at quiet things for ASMR, I get that kind of feeling looking at old photographs. It kind of transports me back, and I can smell and hear and feel that. Especially, for some reason, 70s photographs always look sunny as well, which is good.
If I need to lose myself from the current real-world issues, should we say, and my demons, I find I binge-watch old Pathé reels.
Yeah, but the best ones to watch are on the British Pathé Library. The best ones to watch are not the actual articles, like the one that's like, let's talk to this man. The ones are just where it's just like unused footage.
Yeah,
and it's often it's just like, here's 5 minutes of B-roll footage of a street in Oxfordshire, and there's no sound. It's just 5 minutes of people walking.
That's it. It's just people walking past and the odd awesome cart coming past, and you're like.
There's one where it's like they're all around like some kind of public fountain in London, and kids playing with a remote control boat and stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, I love stuff like that. But I do find myself transported away. But it's very occasionally. I'll always seek that stuff out, but very occasionally, because what I'll do is I'll go on a Google search, I'll have the picture or the footage, and I'll try and search. If I've got time, I'm not doing anything else, I'll do my due diligence. I'll do a search and try and find out what I can.
Yeah, what happens,
And very occasionally, you strike gold and you find a photograph that's actually been taken by like an AP photographer, just taken sort of library footage for whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe it was registered with the Getty organisation.
Right, getting images, yeah.
Yeah, and perhaps if you're very lucky, that photographer registered it with all the relevant information.
Yeah.
If it's not just like a random Associated Press photographer, but a proper professional photographer that does like exhibitions and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes they make stock footage, but they have all the information.
Yeah.
And
do you find then that you go and Google Maps it?
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Yeah.
If it's a store or a shop or something.
Oh yeah.
I found a picture once, and it was like a.
So glad I'm not the only person that does this.
What I tend to do is I tend to find these pictures because you'll read something on a news website, or an article on a blog or something, and it'll have. There was one where it was talking about something. I don't know what the article was about, and they had this photograph, and it was like it was inside a shop, and it was something like not a chemist's shop, but it was like a shop that sold like some pharmaceuticals and beauty products for women and just aftershave, and it was like a I can't really. There's no real modern equivalent, but it might have been. I think it was in a department store, a very small department store. But anyway, and it was British. It was English, and it was in like the night. It was like early 1950s.
Yeah.
And the caption just said a woman being served in a 1950s department store.
Yeah.
But there were I can't remember the specifics, but there were little things in the picture that I thought I could do a bit of detective work. There was a hint of a shop name and stuff, and you saw little bits around the picture. So I think it was there was a phone number visible somewhere on something. So I did a Google search for the phone number, which was very old, and it eventually led me to an old listing for this particular store, and then I was able to find out all about the shop and the guy that ran it.
Oh, brilliant.
And it was like, wow. And then I went onto Google Maps, and it's still there.
Oh, brilliant.
And it was like some family-run shop in London somewhere. That's a little tiny department store that's like the size of a
little Ma and Pa shop.
Yeah, and it's still there, and it's like the same family, although they're kind of going out of business now. And
that's so cool.
Or very occasionally you'll find a photograph where it's just of whatever, and there's no real information, but somehow you manage to find something, and eventually a bit of detective work, you find out who it was and where it was taken. And it's usually by environmental clues, like a phone number in the background, or there was one where I saw a shop front. Yeah. But you couldn't see anything apart from a little bit of the name of the shop next door, and I googled that, and this was an old vintage photograph. And again, you find things out that way. It's like amazing. It's brilliant. It's partly for the thrill of the chase of finding these things out, but when you do find out, it's amazing.
But you sit there, don't you, where you think, I really, because you click on where the journey's taking you. And you sit there and you think, God, when this loads, I really hope it's still there. And then you get this little mini euphoria when there it is on Google Maps. You're like, Street View. Oh, look, it's still there. Yeah.
For some reason, it seems to happen a lot when it's so often like with vintage, like tailor shops in London seem to be in articles and things, or like coffee shops and things. It's quite amazing.
Oh yeah. You know,
I need L1.
Old cobblers' shops. And,
you're on your cobblers again, aren't you?
Yeah, that's because Grandad was a cobbler.
Grandad was a cobbler, and so is Michael Fish. No, wait, that's not right.
Proper handmade shoes, mate.
Where are you up to on your tracks now?
I'm sanding my tracks, mate. I'm sanding L3, mate.
Ooh, I'm about to attach my second set of tracks.
Oh, I'm impressed, mate. See? You're further down the road than I am, mate.
I has a fast on me, obviously.
Sarah Jane says, Colin, say something. Foxx hasn't stopped waffling for 20 minutes. Oh, bless him.
Do you know, it's almost like you don't know me or something.
He's only trying to keep you entertained. She means it in the best possible terms.
It's like going to a sports channel and complaining because they show sports. I don't know. No. What do you expect? It's me.
But we do, and Jeff's the same. He loves map searching your addresses on photos for very old letters. Yeah. Good man.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to our club. So happy.
I don't know what it is, though. I don't know if anybody else gets the same thing, and I can't really explain it in words, but it really is that feeling of when you look
at euphoria, isn't it, almost?
Well, kind of, but it's almost a feeling of
contentment.
If I close my eyes,
yes,
I can hear and I can smell and I can feel the breeze, and it's like it's just something in my brain. Maybe it's a bit like ASMR, but in my brain for thinking areas.
I try to imagine that if I was stood there in that photo, What would it sound, smell like? If I was to turn 360 degrees, what other things that aren't in that picture would I see in the background? Oh, mate. Well, your imagination can run wild, especially if you've Google Maps it and see different things around it.
But the funny thing for me as well is I also get the same kind of thing in video games sometimes because...
Oh, right.
And it's not then tied to a time or a place specifically, but it's more like a lighting.
Yeah.
So, and this is why I like to play, like, especially things like Cyberpunk or Fallout, where I'm in a city area and it's like it's night time, so you've got some like street lighting.
Yeah.
That seems to massively trigger my weird environmental ASMR, where it's that kind of, especially in a city where it's, for example, it might be evening where the sky is blue but everything's kind of dark and dim because the sun's going down.
Yeah, dusk, yeah.
But it's the roads are wet, so there's a shine on the roads, and
nice.
And it's just, it triggers this whole wave of emotions and feelings and sensations that I really can't explain it in words.
Yeah.
And when a game gets that right, it really it at that point,
it's captivating, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the game is at that point. I'll play it just to wander around the world.
Oh yeah.
So I'm kind of simple like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's hard to explain.
We are blokes, though, aren't we? That like that
Hello,
old
Mama Foxx.
era. You know, we often reminisce, don't we, over that era of the double-breasted suit, the fedora hat brigade, and I love all of that because it's heritage, isn't it?
I think part of me is, as I've got older, I've started to appreciate more the 70s.
Yes.
I've said it before, though. You know, it's because
it's where your fondest memories are, though. That's the thing, isn't it? Our childhood memories tend to be the fondest because we didn't have the real life pressures of adults, did we, back then?
Yeah, it's the only decade we've lived in of our lives where we didn't have to worry about anything. Everything was done for us.
If we
was
went
brilliant.
back there now as an adult, it probably would seem quite bleak and bleary.
It'd probably be horrible. It was
but
funny.
As a kid, it was full of scrumping and mate, proper adventures.
I'll tell you what's weird though is, like, you know, you look at these old photographs of the 70s, and in my mind, like, the 70s are always warm and sunny, and they probably weren't. But then, for some reason, the 1960s is a whole different story.
Yeah.
Then in my brain, when I think, because I wasn't around in the 1960s, so I don't know, but in my brain, the 1960s are cold and dark and wet. And it's because whenever I see anything in the 60s, it's usually like a documentary about, I don't know, Bible John, the serial killer, or something like that. There's something that happened in the 60s that's... And I remember
John Haig or Christie or
and all that kind of, and it's usually about like serial killers and stuff because I like watching crime things. And there was a series on the BBC where they went through various different crime history things, and they went through things like Bible John, and it was talking about, it was about 3 or 4 episodes, and every time they showed footage of Glasgow, it was like black and white and cold and decrepit, because there were a lot of slums at that point. And it was like late 60s, it was black and white and cold and decrepit, and everything looked wet and cold. And I was like, oh God, this is really twinging my weird, like, environmental vibe, because it just looks so cold and forbidding. And
60s programmes in London was people that knew the twins.
Yeah.
You know, and that side of London, and it was,
Well, it's
you know, I wasn't born until 67, but when I see things and that, and my uncles and aunts used to talk about that period, that was what they spoke about, because that's the area we all grew up in, you know, the twins. You know, it was how it was.
But to me, I don't know what it was to me, for some reason the 60s, whenever you see the 60s, it's often in black and white anyway. And that's probably leads towards it, but also there was still a lot of poverty in the 60s before the 70s started coming, so a lot of the inner city areas were still quite poor. And so you often see a lot of footage of that, and kids playing on derelict landfills and things like that. So it's probably just the footage I'm used to seeing, but also I think when I think of the 60s, I think I'm actually remembering all the times in the 70s when it was cold and wet and miserable.
Yeah.
Whereas my memory of the 70s is warm and sunny and happy, but obviously there were cold, miserable, wet days. And I'm putting them onto the 1960s in my brain for some reason.
I can remember the 70s winter of discontent, because obviously you had all the power cuts, you had the dustman's strike, you had all of that in the UK. And it was really bleak. You know, the old man was on a 3-day week, so he was as miserable as arse.
I finished more tracks, by the way.
And him being home was an absolute biblical nightmare for us, because we normally ended up on the end of his knuckles. So it was bleak that winter. But that's pretty much all I remember that was bad of the 70s. The rest of it don't bother me at all.
Dude.
You ain't, have you? God, look.
I'm very proud of you, soldier. I'm very proud of you.
Look, it's all still there.
I'm so proud of you. I think everybody should in the chat should give you a dirty great big hug, because you've paced yourself so much that you're going slower than me.
You tart of arseness.
Everybody in chat, please give Colin a dirty great big hug for being nice and slow.
Well, I didn't want you to start moaning at me because I've nearly finished and you haven't, and all of that. I thought I'd be good.
I'm very impressed. You managed to pace yourself beautifully. I'll have a quick look at chat while you're catching up.
Yeah, no worries.
Let's have a look.
That noise, by the way, in the background was Dave falling over, because I'm actually behind.
I heard that from here. Rabbit says the movie Room, which is set in Ohio, is filmed in my suburb of Toronto, features Apache Burger 3 blocks away and the house down my street. Kind of ruined the tension of the movie. I found Castle's apartment in New York.
Oh, did you?
You know, the outside shot of Castle's apartment?
Yeah. Oh, you're good. That's taking it to a new level. I'm impressed with that.
And that's just purely by... How did I do it? That was like looking at this... When you see it on screen, you see the shot of his apartment from a distance.
Yeah.
It was purely going off the name of the diner that's at the bottom of the building. There's like a cafe underneath, and I thought, I wonder if that's real, so I checked it out, found it. And then I also did some Google searches as to other people who found it.
Oh, how cool's that? Did you drop a pin on the map?
No.
Damn.
I'll tell you what I did find as well. Oh, you know what I love doing? When you see people like in something like Castle or something, or Bones, walking down a street, and you see like a shop way off in the distance.
Yeah.
Or they go to... There was one where I think Castle and Beckett went to a motel.
Yeah.
So I found the motel on Google Street Maps.
Oh, brilliant!
So I was like walking around the motel parking lot, and they obviously changed, just to see more how they've changed it from when they filmed it.
Yeah.
Because there was one, they walked into this motel and there was a shop behind them on the other side of the road that looked so obvious, like the graphics department had made the banner for the shop.
Yeah.
And it looked terrible. And then when I went to the real place, it was actually, that was correct. That's what it was. It was just a terrible shop front.
That's impressive, mate. I'm proud of you for that.
Rabbit says, I used to be a background extra about 8 years ago, and I've been in many TV shows and movies, usually a police officer. The most ridiculous was an episode of Fact or Fiction, Immaculate Conception. Oh dear.
Good man.
Joseph Kelly says, staying around in San Fran long enough and you'll eventually see everyone.
Yeah.
Sarah Jane says, I was on the news once and I worked with 2 guys who made a film of the craze and wanted me to be in it as an extra. Turned it down, of course.
Yeah.
Should have done it. Panzer says, on a happier note, in 100 years from now, I'll be long gone.
Absolutely. In 100 years, mate, I'll be coming back to want people.
Yeah. Sarah Jane says, Foxx, when I did the battlefield tours, I thought the same when seeing the soldiers' names. To think World War I soldiers were in a strange country, not seen a car or aeroplane, etc. Quite something. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it yet, if anybody out there hasn't watched it yet, Peter Jackson did a film for the 100th anniversary of World War One. No. What was it? A couple of years ago, there was an anniversary of some sort.
Oh yeah, it's 100 years since.
Since the end of the war. They took a load of old World War One footage and colorized it and added audio to it, and actually adjusted it to a normal speed.
Yeah, very poignant.
And it was called. What was it called?
World War One in colour.
No. It was a one-off movie.
Oh right.
It was something like, In Which We Serve, or so. It had a name like that. But basically, they CGI'd it so that the footage looked like modern colour footage.
Oh right, yeah.
And they got lip readers to watch the footage to try and figure out what people were saying.
Right, so that they could voice it. Yeah.
So that, yeah, if it was like a group of soldiers sat round a table having a laugh and having a drink and a bit of food, they could kind of voice over just background audio, because there was no one directly talking to camera. But basically, they did such a wonderful job, because we're used to seeing like old vintage footage at top speed, but they sorted the frame rate out, and it was amazing.
Oh wow!
Because it looks, I mean, it looks, you can tell it's colorized, but some of the shots, you think that. Looking at old vintage black and white footage suddenly in colour just changes everything. It humanises it. But it's a very good film. It's worth watching. It's really... It's Peter Jackson. I can't remember what it's called, though. If someone in chat can put that in there, that'd be great. Sarah Jane says, to Panzer, leave me your kits, please. My son, Joseph Kelly, says, my son has accidentally crossed paths with Rosario Dawson so many times in SFs, he actually waved at him the last time.
Oh, wow.
Wait, who's Rosario? Why do I know that name? Rosario Dawson is why am I thinking Rosario Biggs Dawson? Who's Rosario Dawson? I know that name.
That name rings a bell, but I can't think where.
Rosario Dawson is... Where have I seen it? Joseph, you're going to have to remind me. It's going to play on my mind now. Where do I know Rosario Dawson from? Darren Edmonds, I found a photograph of the old Victorian house I lived in Hackney when I was little. They were knocked down in the 80s, when you think that no one will ever know they existed or who lived there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I look at this house. I've lived in this house for 50 years. And this is my entire world. I've lived in this house. It's the only house I've ever known. This house is my family history. And yet, to think there's 45 years of stuff in this house before we even lived in it.
Yeah.
That I will never know about.
No.
I know little tiny snippets, and it's like I can't even find details of who've lived in this house because records aren't available. Yeah. And there's no census data until 51.
Sarah Jane names it as They Shall Not Grow Old.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's an amazing film. Worth watching.
It really is, yeah.
I think it's probably on the BBC iPlayer somewhere for free if you're in the UK.
Yeah, I think that's where I got it from. iPlayer.
It's really amazing.
It's very poignant, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like 40 years of things in this house happened, of, laughter and tears and sadness and grief and anger and frustration and amazement that I'll never know about. And I think once I've gone and we leave this house, one day we will do, assuming the house keeps going, there'll be people that live in this house who live their entire lives in this house that'll never know of anything that happened in this house when I was here. It's like, this is my entire world, and yet once I've gone from this house, that world will cease to exist.
It's that old saying, isn't it? The walls could talk.
Yeah.
I'm
kind of glad they can't.
Because it's a lot of memories, isn't it? There was people lived here long before me and my missus did.
Yeah. But I did realise we won't ever see census data.
Relevant to us, no.
No, because I think the first one we'll ever see will be 1951.
Yeah. You don't see a census in your lifetime unless you're a centenarian, isn't it?
Yeah, but we won't see any 20th century.
No,
because 1941 there wasn't a census.
No, that's right.
1931 isn't available yet. So it's like weird, isn't it?
It is really.
There'll be no more. There'll be no new census data till what was the? I don't know. 100 years. We won't see.
Last one was 2021, wasn't it? Census.
Yeah. So we won't see the next census. We would see theoretically is the 1931 census.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But after that, we won't see a 1941. We won't see. I'll never know census for who lived in this house before us, because this house didn't exist in 1931, and I'll be long dead by the time the 1951 census
1951 one comes along. We'll be pushing up the daisies, mate.
Yeah, so I'll never know from the census who lived in this house. Sad.
I've got 2 Leman Russ tracks.
I don't know what that means.
I'll be impressed though.
You were impressed, weren't you? Now the question is, we've only got half an hour. I think we can do the next step.
It's just so cool.
I don't know. Do we want to do the next step, or do we want to just take a pause there and wallow in our achievement?
I think we've had a good achievement. It's just putting 2 halves of the old together, isn't it? Really.
Could do. What do you think? Or should we...
Where do you want to finish it? You want to finish it with gluing that together? Or do you want to finish it with whole assembly? I don't know.
I think
Or do we do that next week?
I think we'll leave that till next week.
Lets this all dry, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you don't want to rush putting this together. Otherwise you get a tank that does that on the table. It's like, oh...
Yeah, don't want it bronze and list, mates.
No.
Yeah,
And you do... The thing that makes me laugh on this, the way they give you an interior floor pan.
Yeah.
You can't see inside. Ever.
Oh, makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's probably a variant where they've got like a door on the back that opens or something, I think. It might be the same floor they use in the Chimera or something.
I'm just mightily impressed that you finished yours before I did.
I know. What's that all about? What's that all about?
This is what I said to you. I shall be taking my time.
I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you that I'm filling up.
They grow up so
They
quick.
grow up so quick, don't they? They do.
But no, it's one of the... I want to savour this because we've both been looking forward to doing this little series for various reasons, haven't we? And it's a good collaboration, I think, and it's good for the viewer. So I kind of want to savour this one.
Yeah, there you go then. We've done very well. So we can get at least... So on the next live stream, we can spend 3 hours doing those 2 steps.
Yeah, we've got... How far do I reckon we'll get next time?
Next time?
I think by the end of the next show, we might, if we're lucky, have got to there.
Got to where?
There. Mind you, that's two whole pages. We've done 1 page today.
Yeah, but that involved cleaning tracks. I think we'll get that done. I think we'll get to the point of building the sponsons. I think maybe. And then on next Sunday after that, it'll be the commander and the turret.
Yeah. That'll give me time to order in the primer because you was on about a particular primer, wasn't you?
It'll just be like Chaos Black Spray, but
yeah, no worries. I'll order a can of that.
Yeah. And I'll go through the brushes that I'm at some point over the week. I'll go through the brushes I'm going to use with you just to make sure we've got everything we need. I'm sure you
worries,
have.
mate. Yeah, just back me a list, mate, because I would have had a payment by then, so I can snag some of them.
Quick visit back to chat. Where are we up to? Paul Di Tommaso says, go back to the 70s and visit Club 54.
Yeah.
Sarah Jane says the 70s were naff. But that's the thing, the 70s weren't naff for me because I was a child.
You're not old enough, are you, Sarah Jane, to remember the 70s, love?
But that's the thing, if I was like, if the 70s was my second, if I was born in the 60s, I'd probably say the 70s were naff. Yeah. Because every decade since has been rubbish, apart from the 1970s, because I was a child.
Yeah, I loved the 70s.
Yeah, like 80s was school, boring. Yeah. 90s was I had to get a job, stress.
Yeah.
2000s was relationship nonsense, and I had to have a job, which was stress. And the 2010s is the first decade where, for the last half of it, I've actually been able to be slightly happy. So yeah, 70s is the happy one. Darren Edmonds says, have you ever watched a film called Somewhere in Time? I won't spoil it, but it has a very similar story to how you were describing you feel when you look at old photos. I shall look that up. Yeah,
you do reminisce because, like you say, Sarah Jane says 4 years older than me. I never knew that, Sarah Jane. I always thought you was a lot younger than me, my darling.
There you go, there's some bonus points.
Yeah, and she says, but I'm still 7. Yeah, I'm still 7. I don't want to grow up. I was 12 and a half for a bit, but I've now reduced myself.
Good.
To 7 years old, climbing trees, scrumping and eating mud.
Oh, you're doing it wrong. You're supposed to be falling out of trees, not climbing trees.
Yeah, I did that a few times. I am that child that put the Pyrex bowl, on my head as an hat. Yeah, I am that child that ended up at the hospital with peanuts in my ears and all sorts.
I was up to the street I lived on in Hackney, says Darren Edmonds, was landscaped by the Luftwaffe and was still not rebuilt in the early 70s.
Yeah.
Paul Di Tommaso says the Umbrella Academy is filmed here in Ontario, in Hamilton, Ontario. Festa on a ghost load. Colin, are you feeling okay? Says Dave. Dave's in with us. Hey, Dave.
I am. I know, Dave. Look,
we heard you falling out of your chair earlier on.
Yeah, Foxx finished long before I did.
I finished my 2 track units and I was reading the chat while he was finishing his.
Yeah, I was cutting them off the sprues, mate. I'm not feeling right.
I know. Rabbit says, I'm the same. I've lived in this house for 35 years, built in 56, and we moved in 87. I haven't found out anything of the previous owners, though. Oh, there we go. She plays, Rosario Dawson plays, she'll be playing Ahsoka Tano in and she plays it in The Mandalorian, but she'll be playing Ahsoka Tano in her own series. That's where I know the name from. Yeah, she's awesome. She's almost married the humane US politician Cory Booker. I like Cory Booker.
Oh, Sarah Jane was born in the snowy winter of '63.
Oh, is that the big freeze when we got
that
like
was
an
the
Arctic?
big freeze. Yeah, that's when my mum couldn't go out because the snow was taller than the front door, so she was stuck in the house.
Well, that explains everything now.
That explains why me and my brother were conceived, doesn't it?
Yeah, that explains why Sarah Jane's so grumpy then, because she grew up in the grumpiest weather they can imagine.
Yeah,
I'm only
she's
joking.
not grumpy. She's
I'm
a
only
darling.
joking.
But yeah,
I've got to get some revenge, haven't I?
I remember the '70s as most of the things and places that I like to go and explore were all getting knocked down because it was all old tenements and houses that have been damaged in the war and ruins.
Just getting rebuilt.
Old areas like where the twins lived and that all getting levelled, and tower blocks were the big thing getting built.
Yeah.
And I remember that, huge urban living places being built that now have been knocked down. Yeah.
I remember feeling very sad when I went to Blackpool about 5 or 6 years ago, and I had occasion to go past and check out the pontins that we used to go to every summer in the 70s and 80s when I was a kid, and it was just flat land, leveled, just gone. Yeah. I was like, it was all my summer holidays at pontins in Blackpool.
Absolutely. Most of the little nooks and crannies I remember as a kid have all gone now, because London, as you know, is constantly evolving like any big city. And it changes, and you go back and you think, where's that gone? And you feel empty inside because all your roots and memories have gone.
Yeah. And I was overcome with memories of like running out of the front gate at Pontins, going across the little Pelican Crossing, and like literally that was the beach, that was the front.
Yeah.
And it was literally Pelican Crossing, pavement, sand dunes.
Yeah.
And it used to be literally run across the crossing and I'm in the sand dunes, playing in the sand dunes.
Yeah.
I was like, I looked at everything was gone, but the crossing was still there and the sand dunes was. I was like, amazing.
Yeah, so how I remember it, Sarah Jane, she says every time you went to London there was still bombed out ruins. Yeah, that's what I remember. Mm-hmm. All around me nan and granddad's place were ruins of houses that had been bombed during the war. Because you think when we was born, it was only 20 years after World War II, so country was still rebuilding. Hadn't long been out of rations, was there?
No.
And big 70s hairdos that your mums used to have.
Oh God, yeah. Beehives.
Beehives and
Sarah Jane says, my grandparents' house in Watford, they witnessed both blitzes, World War One and Two from the same house. People forget that there were bombings in World War One.
Yeah.
But it was from airships and stuff.
Absolutely.
From the same house, they witnessed both. I remember going there and it's now a road. Not many people know that small piece of history. Oh. Colin, you do know Foxx will cheat, says Sarah Jane. How can I cheat?
Yes, I can imagine he will.
How can I cheat? I can't cheat. We're going to be building at the same time and painting at the same time. I can't cheat. How can I cheat? Edward's in. Edward Squishy King.
Hello, mate. Hello, Edward.
Hello, Foxx, Colin and chat. Been lurking, cooking and cleaning. So we need to know what you're cooking.
Absolutely.
Sarah Jane says, every school and place I worked at has been flattened. Not my fault. I don't know. Yeah. I fear the lady doth protesteth too much.
Absolutely.
Muse says, 70s, oh my God, my mom's hairstyles.
Yeah.
The girlfriend and I say, oh, look at such and such is gone now, like we've been into it and supported it the last 20 years. Yeah.
It's when you think of things like platform shoes and things like that in the 70s and the really long collars on everyone's shirts and oh, mate.
I would quite happily, because I've got my 1970s safari jacket that I wear, my black brown leather safari jacket, and I adore it. I could probably quite happily wear big collar shirts now and not feel bad about it.
Yeah, tank tops, roll neck jumpers.
No, not tank tops.
See, but roll neck jumpers with my bald head, it wouldn't be a good look, would it? It reminds you of that squigwidge.
Yeah, that's an image I don't want in my head.
That wouldn't be a good look for Festa, that, would it, a roll neck jumper?
Either that or a turtle's head.
Yeah.
It'd be like a chicken laying an egg, trying to squeeze an egg out.
Be like someone popping an olive, wouldn't it? It just wouldn't be a good thing, would it?
No. See, turtleneck to me says one thing. It's two things. On the cool side, Carl Sagan.
Yeah.
On the not cool side, what's his face from Apple?
Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm happy to look like Carl Sagan. I'm not happy to look like Steve Jobs.
Yes. Heads and tails, isn't it? It's like, yeah.
Ooh, corduroy jacket, sport jacket. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Proper corduroy trousers.
I've got some corduroy trousers.
You ain't, have you?
No,
are they brown or are they the green ones?
They're brown, but unfortunately I threw them out because they stopped fitting me after a while. But
were they farmer brown or were they gentleman shooting brown?
They were neither really. They were just trousers, but they were just happened to be brown corduroy. They were not farming trousers.
Yeah, Sarah Jane's laughing, Colin in a Valdunican roll net. Yeah,
Oh dear.
It wouldn't be a good look, Sarah Jane. It would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if the camera did a down shot, it'd be like.
Oh
yeah,
no. But my 1970s brown leather safari jacket is my favourite piece of clothing in the whole world.
Yeah.
I adore it.
Muse says those pants were the best. Yeah, big high waist trousers with the patch pockets and the big turn up.
Oh yeah.
The big 1970s turn ups.
Muse used to wear black cords.
Yeah. Good shout.
Yeah, like when you were a little kid and you had bell bottom jeans, but you had to turn them up because they were too long.
Yeah.
So they were still dragging along the floor, but they were like proper bell bottoms.
You could put 20 fags in the turn up. It was that big. It'll grow into them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
as you was getting older, all your jeans had little lines around the bottom where you had folded them down over the years.
Yeah.
Black suede shoes, yeah. Brothel creepers, we called them, yeah.
Brothel creepers.
Yeah.
Beetle,
Yeah, that
crush,
was them.
beetle crushers.
Yeah, the old Teddy Boy crepe soles. Yeah, we
Yeah.
used to call them the old brothel creepers.
What were beetle crushers?
Beetle crushers were them shoes that had the wooden soles that used to put the blakies round the front of.
Oh,
They
yeah.
looked like the bowl of a spoon.
Oh god,
But-
they're like a Mr. Man shoe, like a
Yeah.
Mr. Man foot.
Big curved thing, and the whole front of the sole was wood, and you'd have a line of blakies round the back and around the front, and yeah, they were proper beetle crushers then, mate.
Yeah, black corduroy pants for high school uniform, says Paul Di Tommaso. Really?
Good man.
That's a kind of cool school uniform.
So wish I'd
We
gone
just
to your
we just
school.
got grey pants,
Yeah, it was. You
grey
couldn't have-
flannel.
Yeah, you wasn't allowed cords. They had to be grey flannel trousers, either grey
Yeah.
or black. No corduroys and no jeans.
Muse invents a new word. Says these shoes had heavy rubber bottoms, and now rubber
Yeah.
bottoms is one of my favourite words.
Yeah.
I'm afraid
Get
I
your
can't come
rubber
out.
bottoms here.
I can't come out. I've got a case of the rubber bottoms tonight. I can't. I'm not safe to come
Yeah,
outside.
that'll be your new excuse now for a Monday when you can't make it.
Yeah, I can't make it. I've got the rubber bottoms.
Yeah, got rubber bottoms on.
Yeah, I'm having to wear my rubber bottoms.
Yeah, school uniform.
Rabbit says we were going through photos for my girlfriend dad's funeral next week. Oh, sorry to hear that. Condolences. And every photo of them from the 70s and 80s, and they all look like Hong Kong movie stars. Yeah.
Do you remember kipper ties?
Yep, kipper ties.
Big old wide things, and the patterns on them as well were so leery, weren't they?
When I got my first job that I had to wear a suit for, and then for about another 10 or 12 years onwards until it fell apart, I wore with great pride a tie that my dad gave me. And it was a tie that he used to wear in the 1950s. And it was basically straight.
Oh yeah,
Straight all the way.
Yeah, yeah, Slim Jim.
Yeah, it was a straight all the way, but it was like brown,
Yeah.
dark brown, and then it had this kind of like, I'm gonna have to draw
Did
it.
it have the tassely base?
No, it didn't have that. It wasn't quite that. It wasn't like a 1970s woolly one, because I saw 1970s woolly versions of these. It was basically when you wore it. Have I got a clean page? Jellyfish.
Jellyfish. Oh yeah, got squishy hugs.
I did them. I'll do it on this page. When you wore it, you had like your shirt collar, like that, and then you had it like that, and it was just straight.
Yeah, Slim Jim. Yeah.
But it had this pattern, and it was all brown, dark brown.
Yeah.
But if you look in the middle, there was this shape, and it was like
Yeah.
that shape.
Yeah.
And then it kind of had a smaller bit in the middle like that, and
Yeah.
then, and they were all. But the thing was, they were all like iridescent colours, like a blue and a
Yeah.
green and a bronze and a
Yeah.
gold. It was very subtle. It was quite tasteful, but it was all slightly iridescent, like you get that the iridescence on a beetle shell. So all of it kind of had a little bit of an iridescence to it, and I wore that because my dad wore that in the 50s, and I wore that proudly for like 12 or 13 years before it fell apart.
Yeah. Paul D. Tommaso says, yep, Roman Catholic high school, penny loafers, polo shirts and cardigans.
Wow.
Muse says, I've got a ton of Polaroids, get them up on the group so we can mock you, Muse.
Yeah.
She went to public school, the uniforms at private school, such. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my school, my secondary school. See, when primary school we didn't have uniforms. There was a uniform, but you didn't have to wear it, so we just wore normal kids' clothes. Secondary school we had a uniform. For the 1st to 5th form, you had to wear the official school blazer, and then black or grey trousers and smart shoes, and the school tie, which was fine apart from the blazer. The blazer was, let me find a suitable colour. What colour was the blazer? The blazer was that colour green. Actually, that's not right. It was.
I was lucky when I went
that
to
colour
school.
green, and the logo was red and yellow, so it was green, red, and yellow. Ooh.
I was lucky when I went to school because blazers was still an option, but they became compulsory when I think I was in my 4th year of senior school.
Well, 1st to 5th year was school blazer, school tie, and then just black or brown pants and a white
but
shirt.
that was for anyone coming into the school when I was in the 4th year, so I would have been, 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
Anyone new to the school, it was compulsory, they had to wear blazers, but us existing pupils were exempt, and it was so cool not having to wear the blazers.
See, the funny thing with my school, like once you got to 6th form, you didn't have to wear you just had to wear a sport jacket basically, and you just had to wear the school tie, but that was it.
Yeah.
But the 1st to 5th year, where you had to wear the green blazer, we actually had, believe it or not, if you went to the place. Our local school uniform supply shop that you could buy, because it was a grammar school, so you had an official school uniform.
Yeah.
So you go to this place in the local town and they supply the uniform for the local schools.
Yeah, the school uniform shop.
Yeah, and we actually had a school cap.
Oh, right, yeah, we used to have one of those, blue and yellow.
But when I say school cap, I mean proper Nigel Molesworth 1950s round school cap with the little peak.
Just William ones. Yeah.
Did you have one of them as well?
Yeah.
No, we didn't actually. They weren't even required as part of the uniform, but they did exist.
Yeah.
But nobody wore them, obviously.
No.
But
no.
We had a tradition.
Just William caps. Yeah.
We had a tradition in my family that, because we all went to the same secondary school, so the tradition was that on the first day you go off down the road to school, but you have to wear the school cap till you get around the corner.
Yeah. Well, we managed to obtain some of them when we was in our later years of secondary school.
Yeah.
And we used to bung them on just to goon around with. We managed to get hold of some from previous, people that have been through the school system. And that was the thing. It became a trend almost between us slightly anti-establishment ones that we suddenly turned up to school wearing school caps.
Yeah, when you're going around the back of the bike just having a crafty cigarette,
Yeah, and the teachers didn't quite get it because we'd been so anti-ties and blazers, and then suddenly we stood
You've
there.
done a full 360. Well, I think I vaguely remember on my first day at school, at secondary school, I seem to remember there was always there's at least one kid that turned up with the cap.
Yeah.
And just, even though we didn't know anybody, that was our first day at secondary school, and people were just beating him up because.
Yeah. With us, it used to be the blazers. That was the thing. Oh, look at him, he's got a blazer. Yeah, you don't need to have them. That was it. He was the victim.
Yeah. But no. I look forward to wearing. Although I hated school, I really look forward to actually having to wear my school blazer when I was getting ready in the summer holidays to go to secondary school. I was like, I've never worn a jacket before. It's brilliant.
You always had that one kid that was the ideal school photograph, wasn't it? Where their blazer was pressed, their tie was pressed, everything about them looked like it had been starched and pressed, didn't it? And it's like,
yeah.
My mummy says, oh my God, yeah.
I think the school uniforms at a high school I attended, says Jeff, was a pair of worn-out jeans and a black T-shirt with Led Zeppelin on it. That's kind of cool.
Joseph Kelly, you are pretty much correct, mate. Every schoolboy in 80s England did look like Angus Young, mate.
Who's Angus Young?
AC/DC guitarist. Wears a skull cap and blazer on stage. Even though he's now 67.
Except my school blazer was green. Mine strong green.
Blue.
Like really bright, like dark, horrible bright. Yeah. It was like the whole thing was green with yellow piping. Oh,
Yeah.
yellow
No,
and red
navy-
piping on a green jacket. Jesus.
Navy blue blazer with silver buttons. The skull cap was black and gold, but it looked yellow in a certain light. And the skull tie was black with diagonal gold stripes. And then if you was in a particular house, every alternate stripe had the border colour of your house on one of the
Right,
stripes.
we didn't have that.
You know,
But no,
so
we
they
had-
knew, yeah.
Yeah, we had the green blazer with yellow and red piping. We had the green tie with the yellow and red insignia on it, the Shield logo.
Yeah.
But for me, it was more. I was more just because when we got the uniform, I'd been at primary school. It was my first time
Yeah.
at secondary school. Obviously, my first. I was the whole summer holiday looking back on it. I wasted because I was just sitting there looking at this jacket, going, "I want to wear my jacket. I want to wear my jacket," because I'd never worn a jacket before, and it had a pocket on the inside and everything.
I can remember my mum for my first day at senior school, bless her. She bought me a snorkel. Do you remember them? The snorkel jackets that had the hood with the long snoot on it when it was zipped up.
the Parker jacket, yeah.
Yeah, so it ended up with a little circle like that of fur about 2 foot from the front of your face. And kids were getting knocked over crossing over the road because they had their snorkel hoods
Did
up.
it have the orange interior?
It did.
Was it blue?
Now, it was. And she bought me this coat, right?
Yeah.
Now, I can remember the strings hanging out the back of it were dragging through the puddles. It was that long. The sleeves were rolled up, and she's like, "He'll grow into it." I took 3 steps before this coat moved anywhere, you know. And
You could
I
move
had
your hand
that
like that and the
coat-
sleeve
yeah.
wouldn't move.
I had that coat all the way through my school life, and I reckon now if I still had it, it would still be too big for me.
Probably would fit, yeah.
But you could almost turn round in the coat. You could take your arms out the sleeves, spin yourself round in the coat, and put your
Yeah.
arms through and walk backwards because.
Do you ever do the thing where you pretend you're a robot where your sleeve doesn't move but your hand goes like that?
Did you have the mittens with the long cable?
No, I
ones?
never
You
had
didn't
that.
lose
The
them?
mittens
Yeah,
with the
my
strings.
mum
No, I
did.
never had
Yeah.
that. I never had, actually, I've got to be honest, and I really want one now, actually. I never had a Parker. The blue with the orange interior with the big
Yeah,
snoot
I had-
hook.
Yeah, the big old snorkels. Yeah, I had that, mate. Yeah.
And I found myself thinking now, I'd actually quite like a long snoot Parker
Yeah.
like that.
They are pretty expensive now, mate. You can still get them.
Yeah, I wouldn't want one now. I mean, I'd like one now, but I wouldn't want to buy one now.
Absolutely. Mew says they kicked our ass at school, baseball in regionals many times. Our
Foxxy,
summer travel teams were some of the best. Absolutely.
Muse is disturbed that I don't know Angus. I don't know. I don't do bands and rock. I've never had an interest in rock music and pop
Yeah.
and stuff. And
Yeah, we had the option of short trousers when we first started at senior school, but anyone that turned up in short trousers would have been bullied for the next 6 years.
oh
So
yeah, nobody ever wore short trousers. No.
But yeah, the
no,
caps
no.
were exactly like Angus Young's, and so was the blazer. It was
It
proper.
does make me wonder why our local school uniform shop ever even bothered stocking shorts. Because if you turned up in shorts, your ass was grass.
Do you remember that one kid that turned up either with
Half-mast.
a briefcase or a satchel?
Oh, did we have?
Yeah.
No,
The
actually,
school satchel, the square thing with a flap on it. And, oh, mate, the kid turned up with one of them. They got. Yeah,
I think that it wasn't quite a bad thing. I mean, a briefcase. Nobody would have had a briefcase. I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, you
But
know,
we all
one
had
of
like
those,
we all had a sports bag. Some kids had satchels, but
Yeah, my bag was a big Gola bag. Yeah.
we had. What did I
Take
have?
the
I
bag
had.
back in the day.
I don't know what bag I had. I always remember though. Oh, the last day of term every year. The last day of term when you had to empty out your desk. Because for the first, I think first year, second year, and third year, you were in a different physically different classroom because you had.
You were segregated from the taller kids, wasn't you?
Well, in ours, you had a form teacher. You had a form tutor for the first year, so you were in like class 1BA or something. So you had, say, my first year teacher was Mr. Barton. Then in the second year, you'd have a new form tutor. You go to a different teacher who would be your form. He wouldn't necessarily be your teacher, he'd just be the one that you were in a class and
do the registration thing with and all of
that. And then the third year you'd have a new firm, but the one that did your third year one, he would then be your form tutor for the third, fourth and fifth year.
Yeah, that's how ours worked.
Yeah, so for the first 3 years, every day on the last day of term, which was you didn't do anything because you'd done your exams and stuff, and the last day of term you had to take any textbooks and stuff that you were going to carry on to the next year, and all your books and exercise books and all the stuff that was in your school desk, you had to clear your desk out.
Yeah.
And the thing was, every single year, everybody said, right, I'm going to start taking my stuff home in bits.
Yeah.
But every year we wouldn't, and on that last day of term, I would never forget that long walk from school to the bus station, which was about a
with
mile.
Your bag weighing 300 weight.
Yeah, 300 tons of crap in my school bag, and all it had was that thin leather shoulder strap on one shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Do you remember your first few days of the term? The next term was spent covering all your new books in wallpaper.
Yeah, sticky
Remember doing
wallpaper.
that?
Yeah, sticky wallpaper. Yeah. And, God, yeah, just...
And it's
carrying
like,
all
look
that
at
crap
him,
home
he's got
every year.
Yeah. 1970s and 80s wallpaper on school books. It's like,
Yeah. Our school was one of those schools that still had desks with inkwell holes on them.
Yeah, we had them, inkwell holes.
Oh God, yeah, but that last day of and I never learned. Never ever learned that I could have.
Until the third year, all our writing that had to be done in proper fountain pens. You know, with the old sidey thing that you used to look round at your mate and go, oi, and you would.
Yeah, the little lever. No,
Yeah.
we didn't have that rule. We could do whatever you want as long as it was pen. You know, it didn't really matter.
Yeah,
But I love writing in fountain pen.
Biros only started being a thing when I was in my third year, but up until then, you had to use proper ink pens, you know, even using Quink or the school inkwell.
Quake. No, we didn't. Well, we didn't actually have inkwells.
Yeah.
But by that point, when I was in school, you didn't have the pump ink. You could still buy pump fountain pens, but it was all cartridge pens in those days.
No, we used to have the little squeezy bladder with a lever. You used to have your teacher would come round if you needed a refill, and they would pour some in your inkwell, like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we were in the era of cartridge pens by that point.
Yeah. But God help you if you asked them for a refill because they knew that you had squirted someone, and that's when you'd get a rollicking.
But I've just had a massive flashback. And it must have been a good 40 to 45 years. No, can't be. It must be a good 40 years since I last experienced that little of pushing a cartridge into a cartridge pen when it pops the little ball. And then a good 40 years since I've actually remember seeing the little cartridge ball rattling around the bottom of an empty cartridge.
Yeah.
Memories. Anyway, it's 7 o'clock, dude.
Yes.
I need to go and sort dinner out for Mama Foxx and make sure she's made herself a brew.
Mate.
She won't have made herself a brew.
No, she's going to be sitting there,
Yeah, dehydrated.
foaming at the mouth because it's so dry.
Even though she could have made herself a brew.
I know. Look,
She'd be like, I didn't want one. Yes, you did. Stop lying.
We got Leman Russ's, mate. Look.
Yep. So well done, Colin. You've built slowly, and I'm impressed.
I am.
You've managed to throttle yourself. That's good.
Yeah, it's well. At the end of the day, the way I look at it is, you know, I'm learning to paint in a similar way, and I'm going to learn to build in a similar way and treat it like that. The whole series, I'll be sensible. See,
Build along a fox. There you go.
build along with Foxx.
Yeah. So
sensibly.
these will now go back in the box. Won't be touched till next week. So
No, it's going to go up on the shelf.
Yep, so join us next Sunday when we will carry on with this Leman Russ build. And if you weren't here at the start, we'll be doing teaching Festa how I paint things. So we'll be doing this right full to build, paint and completion. And Colin will be seeing how I do things and trying to copy it. So that's what it's going to be. So join us next week when we'll carry on with the building. Until then, thank you very much everyone for watching. Don't forget, if you'd like to support the channel, please do consider it, because I do this for my living. You can go to patreon.com/modelmakingGuru and become a patron, or you can click the join button underneath my video, any of my videos, to become a channel member. You'll get free access to loads of extra bits and bobs, some exclusive content, and you'll get access to the live offline video 24/7 Zoom hangout, which is open to all patrons and members of mine and Colin's channel.
Exactly.
And pimpage time, Doy. Do your pimpage.
If you'd like to support me, you can do so by subscribing to my channel, youtube.com, Festa67's Workshop. You can click the join button on that channel under any of my content to become a channel member, or you can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/Festa67's Workshop. Folks.
Don't forget to subscribe to Colin's other channel, BehindTheBeadedCurtain.com.
Yeah.
But yes,
And ring the bell, because I shall be doing random gaming live streams when I'm able to spend a bit more time at the bench.
yes, we need to get you playing Skyrim.
It's just at the moment I only come to the bench to do the shows at the moment, folks. So bear with me.
So there you go. But at least if you do a video game, you could set your chair back so you can sort of lie in your chair. And play the game.
Absolutely, yeah.
You'd have to sit up. But anyway,
Exactly.
thank you everyone for watching. Do take care of yourself. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow for Remodels Monday. Me, Colin, Chris and Ted. I'll be back on Friday with Colin for the Friday Frolic, and then next weekend for this.
Yeah, on the Friday Frolic, mate, are we starting the stopper building?
Yeah.
So there'll be a new build on the Friday Frolic as well.
We'll have a
folks,
special
you can look
Friday
forward
Frolic
to.
build ongoing. So there you go.
Absolutely.
I'll try and do, again this week, I'll try and do some filming of the Imperial Knight, so stay tuned, some of that might happen, and I might get some more Cyberpunk streaming this week. We shall see about that. But until then, thank you very much, Colin, for joining me as always.
Not a problem, mate. Always my pleasure, and always a pleasure to spend a lovely Sunday with the folks in chat.
And thank you very much to Si for coming along as well. Oh, wait.
That's okay, folks. Sorry I've been quiet. I've been busy.
And on that note,
On
that note, I shall say thank you everyone for watching. Take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. And until next time.
Fox is off for a rewipe.
Oh, adios amoebas. I've eaten beans, I can tell. Oh.